Hey, gods and goddesses, welcome to your December horoscopes. December is such a cold and quiet, ancient portal. Like you're going over a mountain, this is where anything that is unstable really collapses. It's like you're pulled into a portal of darkness to be still, to be quiet. Um, the biggest thing that's going on this month I see is the winter solstice. We don't have that many transits or aspects that are, completely life changing, but the winter solstice is a moment that is life changing, in my opinion. And this is where your soul is going to descend into like this deepest point of darkness so that it can be reborn into this higher octave of light. It is this cosmic still point, and the sun is going to sit motionless at the 0 degree in Capricorn. This is kind of between, in my opinion, in astrology's opinion, like death and resurrection. This is where we are asked to really pause and sit in our stillness. I think energetically, this is a gate where we are wondering, and I won't say wondering at all, but we're trying to dissolve this old cycle, right? And see what can begin. But it's almost like we have to sit with this. And it's not a punishment. This darkness is not a punishment. It feels like a wound. And it feels like this is where the psyche is releasing what no longer can rise with it. Where your ancestors whisper to you, where there's this potential that stirs beneath you in order to awaken something that is unseen, or the unseen soil in you. As I like to say, like things that are planted within you, they start to grow, but not at a rapid pace, but you definitely start to realize something consciously, like you're stepping towards this rite of passage, like a rite of passage on the earth realm. And this is where like your vision must meet your form, like your form of the spirit, your form of the body, where you must commit to something, to yourself, most importantly, in order to matter. Capricorn is not just about discipline. This is like a architecture of destiny in a way. And during the solstice, this is where the world is being pushed into a deeper confrontation with the truth, with legacy, with the structures that hold us or break us. Illusions are very thin. And even with Neptune going direct this month, illusions are very thin. This is a time where it feels thick. We really start to see time passing by, even though time is an illusion, but we start to be able to sit with ourselves. So these are the things that become crystallized over this time. Even patterns can come crystallizing. You see what you have mastered, what you have not. You're really asked to rise out of this emotional chaos and step into like your spiritual adulthood, even your earthly adulthood in some type of way, maturing the soul, where like intention becomes law and responsibility becomes creation. The winter solstice is a time where our souls are being pressed into self recognition. This is where karma is rearranging itself. What is unstable is going to collapse, and what is aligned kind of strengthens us. And what also is destined will make itself known or reveal itself, in some type of way. It's like outlining itself. It's very subtle. It's not all in your face. It's really up to the mature side of you to see these things, the light within you to return to you slowly. It's not bright. As I said, this is just coming in you consciously, like your awareness. There's a higher knowing that is going to guide the months that are to come after the winter solstice. And this is reminding you that true power is quiet, it's sacred, it's earned. And this is really a new cycle that is born first in darkness before it comes fully into its form. So that is I'm already 4 minutes in, but that's and this is happening December 21st. So that's such a powerful time and powerful shift within this month. But other than that, on the December 4th, we're going to have a full moon in Gemini. And the full moon in Gemini is going to bring a split between the mind, right? A split between the mind, the talking. There's a truth that has been avoided, and it comes to the surface, like conversations, that you weren't planning can happen during this time. And even like misunderstandings can come in order for you to like clear it away. This one, when it's going to act like this psychic mirror, it's going to reveal like duality. Gemini are the twins. It's going to reveal like double thoughts and, your emotional contradictions. I think there's a confession, there's a choice, there's a revelation, there's a release of some type of mental clutter that you can have. After this full moon, it can bring a lot of clarity, sudden awareness within the mind. Even your communication can differ. So when we talk about December 10th, Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces. Hallelujah. Like hallelujah. Because Neptune has been in Pisces for so long, since 2011. And it's finally going direct for the last time in Pisces at the 29th degree. It's a very critical degree. This is the last degree of illusions that are going to dissolve for people. And, like Neptune is standing directly on this anaretic degree. It's like this is the end of a chapter, and the fog is going to like clear within dreams, within relationships, within fears, within addictions. Like you suddenly start to understand what you couldn't put into words like this whole time, maybe even within this whole year, because Neptune, has been going into Pisces and Aries in 2025, but there's a completion of a karmic cycle. This is a spiritual rebirth, an emotional detox of some sort that is not going to come back, that is honestly dissolving itself. Psychic sensitivity is going to increase, and it's going to stay there for the rest of our lives, right? Because Neptune is never going back into Pisces while we are alive, but there's a denial that's going to end for us for the rest of our life. Like we can no longer remain in some type of victimhood that doesn't serve us. On December 11th, Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio. And Lilith in Scorpio, Mercury conjuncting Lilith in Scorpio, it's like this unfiltered truth, these shadow thoughts. They can be exposed, because when Lilith and Mercury meet in Scorpio, like there's this confession type of energy. There's these conversations that normally people don't have, talking about taboo and talking about the occult, and to just talking about, darkness in any type of way, trauma. Like people don't really have these conversations, and whatever is like buried, things that are like desires for us, these are coming out. You might see people's like real intentions, or your own suppressed feelings are going to erupt within you, and you may be very vocal about them. This is a time where secrets and sexual truths can come to light, even forbidden topics, as I said, because there's an emotional intensity and an emotional honesty. The intensity is in Lilith, the honesty is within Mercury, and there's raw communication. There's endings that may happen. There's an empowerment through truth that can happen when this conjunction is happening at a later degree in Scorpio. So on December 11th, Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius, and this is where we really, like, our mind kind of expands, and not kind of, it definitely does. Like, truths definitely get bigger, even after the intensity that we had to deal with Scorpio, and like, with the retrograde that we have in the retrograde that we had in Scorpio and Sagittarius, like there's this talk of the truth. There's this talk of expansion. Mercury is really blasting into Sagittarius, and it's making things broader and bigger and wilder, even more honest, right? I mean, it's definitely honest in Scorpio, but there's a reason and there's an understanding behind these things. It's like you stop overthinking and you start visioning certain things, right? Your optimism returns, and you start future thinking, you start learning, you're planning, you're seeking wisdom, you're inspired, your mind is inspired, you're more aware, or I want to say you're more aware, but you're having these blunt conversations about whatever you want to talk about, whether it's honesty, whether it's the truth. Like, your mind is definitely expanded. And on December 15th, Mars is entering into Capricorn. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so this is the strongest and like most productive place, Mars in Capricorn. And so there's a warrior that is disciplined. The drive becomes structure when Mars is in Capricorn. There is this ambition that strikes, and goals they solidify. There's hard work that must be done. There's long-term success. There's discipline. There's authority. And I think that there can be major achievements during this time, and even these strategic moves, and this boss like energy is definitely unlocked when Mars is in Capricorn. And I just want to say, happy solar return, Sagittarius. Happy days, happy ways, happy everything to you, Sagittarius. I can't wait to hear what truths and faiths you're spinning this month. This is your solar return. It's going to be such a beautiful year for you, Sagittarius. And going into the next year, I mean, that's beautiful. And then happy solar return, Capricorn. Like, this is your solar return as well at the end of December. So of course it's going to be a great year for you. Your ruler Saturn is moving, and yes, there's just so many packed things for, Sagittarius, Capricorns, Leos, all signs. But happy solar return, guys. So anyway, moving on to December 20th, new moon in new moon in Sagittarius, right? So at the end of the month, or towards the end of the month, this feels like a new destiny that is trying to form or beginning to form. And this is a portal that is activating like higher truths. This is a prophecy. This is something that's like in foresight. Something about your life is going to shift, where there's new beliefs, there's travel plans, there's education involved, there's spiritual upgrades, there's a conversation within yourself that helps you manifest things, that can be linked to like freedom, and it can be linked to expansion and future planning, future visions. So also on December 20th, Lilith is going to enter into Sagittarius, and this is, of course, the wild feminine type of energy that that Lilith can actually be in. She really refuses to be controlled, especially in Sagittarius. Sagittarius stands for freedom for all, right? And there is no way that, she's not going to start, like Lilith is not going to start a rebellion in Sagittarius. So of course this awakens a rebellion within you, some type of independence. You are delivering your rawest truth. There is breaking rules in some type of way. There's this sexual freedom. You are redefining things in your life, your views. There's like a liberation from society and social constraints and emotional constraints. I think that even people who have lived in Sagittarius, sometimes these are people who take religion as a joke. Like, they take, like, when people are like, oh my, like, they're so gung-ho on one thing, and the only way, like, life can only go one way if you just believe in this one thing, like, for your whole life. Like, they literally laugh at things like that, because they're like, are you kidding me? Do you know how big life is? Like, you are being controlled. So people who have like Lilith in Sagittarius, just like natally, these are people that I always want to talk to. Like, they will really make you laugh about the things that we were like positioned to believe and grow in, and like people are still like believing the same thing. That's another conversation. But anyways, the sun is going to enter into Capricorn, and this is where this winter solstice starts on December 21st. There is this solar spotlight that moves into like, I think that I want to say solar spotlight because this is definitely like the darkest time, and it's not, I'm telling you, it's not a darkness that's gonna like suck you dry, but this is moving into structure, into mastery. And the sun is about maturity and responsibility, and like you're stepping into purpose. There's you're stepping into a grounded but powerful shift in long-term thinking. That is the best way to like sum it all up, where you're thinking about stability, legacy, like discipline. You're thinking about where your life is actually headed. On December 24th, Venus is going to enter into Capricorn, and love and relationships and monies and resources and any type of things that we enjoy, indulgence in this life, it becomes serious. They become more valuable. You want what's real. You want the real thing. There's no more casual energy type. Venus in Capricorn wants commitment, it wants security, it wants loyalty, love, really. Oh my goodness, I can't believe my son is this loud. But anyways, like money and loyalty is serious. Like money comes at a more disciplined way. You want to save it. You want long-term love. You want to reach financial security. Even having emotional boundaries as well. Like you're choosing partners that are going to invest in something that actually lasts, or you're choosing to have people around you, or you're choosing to put your money, to put your time and value and even your like attention and focus onto things that are going to have lasting value upon for the long term. So anyways, let's get started. What's up, Aries? Here are your December horoscopes. So there's going to be a full moon in Gemini on December 4th, and happening in your natal third house. So this full moon is going to bring important conversations, decisions, news that is really going to clarify your directions, or your direction in life, I think. There's something that is involving your communication, writing, or education that can really come to its peak now. You complete something, you complete a project, you sign paperwork, you are ready to announce something. The mental energy is really high when there's a full moon in the third house. And this is when your voice and your message start to really reach a wider audience, or they really start to matter to you. I think on a deeper level, you're realizing that your words are carrying weight, and the way that you express yourself really influences your reality. So this possibly, the people around you too, like your brothers, your sisters, the third house is our immediate environment. And you'll start to notice who's truly listening, like when you're speaking, and when you're speaking truthfully as well, Aries. And so Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces in your natal 12th house on December 10th. And Aries, I'm just going to say that you are up next having Neptune in your first house in your lifetime. So that is something that is extremely special, extremely rare. And this is a beautiful time and a really auspicious time for you to be alive, Aries. Neptune is never going back into Pisces after it reaches your sign again next year. So use Neptune's energy to completely change your life, completely change your worldview. But anyways, right, go ahead and watch the Neptune in Aries video, because that tells you a lot about what's going to happen in your sign. I'm going to put the link down below. But we're talking about, Neptune going direct in Pisces in your 12th house. And so faith is going to be restored to your path. You feel more spiritually grounded and, even inspired in some type of way. You can feel like after months of feeling like insecure, or not even insecure, it's just uncertain, like you're having inner uncertainty, your dreams and intuitions can really sharpen when Neptune is going direct, because you begin to see why like certain events over the past few months, few years, I would say the past months and years, because Neptune has been going into Aries and Pisces, but why they unfolded the way that they did, the deeper meaning here is that the unconscious mind becomes more clear, and the patterns that you couldn't name before, they start to make sense now, and it kind of allows you to move forward without second guessing yourself. So yes, Neptune is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio in your natal 8th house on December 11th. And so these are conversations about monies and conversations about intimacy and emotional vulnerability. These conversations can get very, very intense, and I feel like you can uncover a truth, a secret, and whether it's yours or someone else's, it is time for a mental and emotional honest conversation where you can see through surface level words and you start to feel people's real intentions. The deeper lesson here, Aries, is that we all need shadow work. And that doesn't exclude you. And it definitely doesn't exclude someone saying they don't need shadow work, but there is a shadow working with you and the other, or I'll just say you. But you can see this. You can see the shadow through communication, and you learn how to use your truth. You learn how to use this shadow to form power back within yourself rather than controlling a situation or letting a situation control you. You see clearly through this situation. That's definitely like an inner thing, Aries, I would say. It's like having the same repeated word or someone saying the same phrase, and you're like, well, you keep saying that, but it doesn't feel that way. Like something is not right with you. There's a manipulative thing, or there's a trauma type of thing happening, or you're trying to seek control over me, or you're trying to constrain me. Like there's just something, and it really starts to show in December. And so Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius on December 11th, which is your natal ninth house. You become more open-minded and curious, bold within your thinking as well. This is great for like teaching and writing and publishing things, and having these big ideas. It's like you're gonna crave stimulation and learning. You're gonna crave like new concepts, even studying or wanting to like having interest in like different belief systems, or even traveling somewhere that teaches you something, education, spirituality. This is where you are going to be inspired to flow like with the universe, and honestly becomes a little bit more easily to flow when Mercury is in Sagittarius. Like if you work on the internet, or if you work with like media or technology or something like that, it flows a little bit more easily. You're able to learn it. And so Mars is going to enter into Capricorn, which is exalted in Capricorn in your 10th house. Oh, wow. Yeah. Like your ambitions are definitely going to skyrocket. Mars in the 10th house is really pushing you to take control of your goals and climb higher heights for your skills, for your life. And it's like you'll feel the urge to prove yourself and to show what you're capable of. I think that if you have like bosses or people that hold any type of authority over you, like I said, like bosses, they start to notice your drive, and it's easier for you to take action and to do this while people are watching. Mars in the 10th house is testing your discipline. It is not about wanting success, but it's how you can sustain it through having consistent effort. So that's pretty great. New moon and Sagittarius on December 20th in your natal ninth house. Here's a fresh chapter that starts with your beliefs. It starts with your education, your view. You can start a class, you can launch something, you can teach something, you can learn something, you're inspiring others, or there's an experience of a turning point in how you view your life's purpose. Anything that is involving like international connection or philosophical growth, this is really favored when the new moon is happening on December 20th. So Lilith is going to enter into your natal ninth house. And Lilith moving through the ninth house, it's like your voice becomes a truth teller. Like you're less afraid to say things that other people avoid. Especially like when it comes to like justice and ideology and spirituality, it's like over the next couple of months, your message is going to become bolder. Like it's possibly going to like ruffle a little bit of feathers. It's going to be like kind of like controversial, but it is deeply liberating for those that are willing to listen and that need it. It's like you're called, Aries, to really like teach and to express a truth that challenges this conventional thinking. It just challenges other people's ways of thinking. Like this is a step into real influence. The sun is going to enter into Capricorn in your natal 10th house, December 1st. I love the sun in the 10th house. Like, your public life is going to take center stage, and this is how the world is seeing you up in the 10th house. Like, you can receive recognition, you can really have these new leadership roles, new responsibilities. The focus really shifts from like what you believe into like what you're willing to build. You know, if you've been working on something quietly, like these are results that become more visible to other people. Venus is going to enter into Capricorn on December 24th. And this is your natal 10th house. So relationships with authority and even like your professional, or like I said, you know, how the world sees you, these are things that's going to soften. Like, people are going to appreciate your style, your voice, your authenticity. There can be like money opportunities that can flow more easily through public connections or through your work environment. Venus adds this grace to your ambition, and whatever you're trying to build, there is this magnesium, like I'm just naming stuff, but there's this magnetism. You become very magnetic. Like, these are the things that increases because you are aligned with your purpose, you know. Venus in the 10th house, I really do also love as well, but it becomes more serious. Like, Venus in Capricorn becomes a lot more serious, once more stable, and it's willing to do whatever it takes, and not in the most, like, not in the way that it's begging, but in the way that it's structured, and you know it's not playing, you know. December is definitely a month that you begin speaking and sharing your ideas. You turning these visions into manifestations, and your words are going to open doors, Aries, and your efforts are going to solidify them. And so we're like, step into higher ground and become, and know that you're going to be more seen, you're going to be bolder, you're going to be clearer, and you're going to find your confidence within your voice and within your truth, Aries. And so, yes, that's all I have for you, Aries. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, Aries. Hey, 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 Taurus. Welcome to your December horoscopes. So, starting off the month, we have a full moon in Gemini in your natal second house on December 4th. And this is about your finances, about your self-worth. This is about your materialistic stability, your resources. And you can see there's a new realization that's going to come to you about what is truly sustaining you. And this can come in the combination of like monies, perhaps payment plans, payment plans, skills, the resources that you have. Like, it may also show you how much you're valued, how much your value has evolved during this year, or how much, you know, it's like, it's less about your possessions and more about the energy exchange between what you give and what you receive. That is the best way to say it. It's like, what do you truly value? There is this deep realization around these things, you know, that comes to the mind, but also, you know, you really start looking around, and I think you start like confirming these things. Like, you're learning that stability is actually coming from alignment with your worth, and not from things that you are like accumulating or just having in your house, and also not from people telling you what you should and shouldn't have inside of your home. Sometimes we don't need all of this stuff, you know. We just need what we need. We need ourselves. We need close friends around us. We need people who are going to be good to us. Like, these are the things that we need in order to feel home and safe and stable, and all of the things that we don't need millions and thousands of dollars, even though, you know, like, of course, give it to me. But if I don't need it, like, if it's not something that's going to help me help another person, then it's just there, you know, and it doesn't define you. It's not just there, it's just that it doesn't define you, Taurus. Like, I think that you know what I'm saying. Like, give it to me, but like, it's not gonna define me. And so Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces on December 10th in your natal 11th house. And so if we think about this, Neptune going direct, we can say thank goodness, because this is the last time that Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces or be in Pisces, and it's at a very critical degree of 29. And so any type of confusion or any type of thing that you have thought about when it comes to aligning with your vision, and the people who are not meant for you and who are not aligned for you, these become more clear. Like there's no more confusion. You're not confused about these friends, these groups, or these goals that you have. You're more clear now. There's a creative and spiritual side to you, and it feels like you can collaborate more easier, and you have this new sense of belonging to something. And I feel like something begins to form under this direct motion as well. This is a moment of awakening into your social field. You're beginning to recognize your role as a teacher, as a guide, even within your community. Even if the message has been misunderstood before, I think that now there's a time that you don't misunderstand. Even if other people misunderstand you, towards you don't misunderstand the message. The message that you're saying, and you have to have faith in that message and what comes out of your mouth, when you're saying this message, and what you truly feel. So while Neptune is actually moving into your 12th house, I think that's fantastic, to have that type of transit going on, even for, because I think that was the only one. We're not going to see it back in Pisces, but the next like 14 to 16 years, Neptune is going to be in your 12th house. So that's awakening a whole different type of divinity for you. But godly, what you're saying, the message that you're trying to get across, Taurus. And so Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio, and happening on December 11th. And so Scorpio is your 7th house. And wow. Right, there's powerful conversations that that erupt in your closest relationships. It's like you can feel to express something that you've been holding back. There is someone that may reveal what they have been hiding from you. And partnerships really get raw, and they really get emotionally charged, and I feel like the truth is gonna clear the air. But also, Lilith is gonna express what's been suppressed. This is the shadow of communication, where vulnerability meets power, and you're learning how to stay authentic without losing your peace. So it's like I'm not gonna just let you towards you feel, and I feel like you're not gonna let other people talk to you and like demand things from you and put things on you that isn't for you. That one is extremely liberating, but also it can be very snappy. It's not gonna be confined in any type of way, and you're definitely not gonna you're not gonna like try to rearrange my truth and make it work for you. That conjunction is honestly you're standing on you're standing on what you want to say, or they're standing on what they want to say. And if they aren't going to change that, you have to see if it works for you. So Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius, and so that's your 8th house, and that's happening on the 11th. So I think that your thinking, honestly, it deepens. It becomes drawn to like mysticism and hidden motives behind why people do the things that they do, like their actions. I think that psychology becomes a really big play, especially within relationships, especially within like, sharing things with other people. How people give you stuff, like, well, let me take it back from you. It's almost like you start to really wonder why people speak about fear. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do people try to hold fear over you? It's almost like you are unafraid to discuss these things. You're unafraid to discuss power, hidden power, manipulation, and you really get a larger, like, your mind honestly expands, and it starts to do things like spiritual merging with other people. How you can like adapt other people's way of thinking, and you start to really think like them and see why they think that way, and you're having conversations about these things. And it gets very it gets very something. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, because it gets like very, it's something that is this internal, it's an internal conversation, but like just seeing people's shadow aspects of them, what they fear, and then what makes them fear that. It's like you feel it yourself, you're merging with them. So you have to be really careful about that one. You know, there's conversations that can be, you can talk about debt, you can talk about shared monies, you can talk about you know, the emotional part of things, you know. This trend is really going to invite you to speak about what others fear and what they fear to name. You know, your voice becomes magnetic. You know, when you're afraid to discuss anything that has to do with power dynamics, manipulation, intimacy, emotional truth, just like power plays, like you have this confidence now to speak about these things. Um, and you should speak about those things, Taurus. Mars is going to enter into Capricorn on December 15th. And so Mars in Capricorn is actually exalted. So that's pretty good in the ninth house. So Mars is bringing this determination that expands your worldview. It's really hungry for growth. It's hungry to travel. It's hungry to study. It's hungry to believe something other than what it freaking believes, because it's challenging your old perspectives. You know, Mars here is trying to give you courage to act on your convictions and step into new territory, and both literal and like, you know, what is that word? It's like education, um definitely mental. Let's just say it's mental, it's literal, and it's even in the way of education. It's like, what do you have to learn in order for you to you know, expand your faith and not fear and things of that nature. Like, Mars in the ninth house is about fighting for what you believe in, and also realizing that wisdom is strength. And so this is where it's headed, and you're learning to act from faith and divinity, and even like spiritual messages and spiritual guides instead of fear. So yeah, Taurus, new moon in Sagittarius on October. Wow, I mean December, December 20th, and this is in your natal eighth house. So there's a new moon, and this is a powerful beginning. I feel as though that is arriving in the realm of intimacy, power plays, shared resources, like personal transformation. This could spark a financial shift or a partnership that is turning into some type of spiritual rebirth, you know, for you. Or there's a turning point in a relationship, and you're being asked to trust what is unseen, and to invest into your emotional evolution. This lunation is going to open up a doorway to like a sacred mystery of exchange when it comes to like giving and receiving and merging with the next person. There is this cycle of empowerment that begins after you stop fearing what has been lost or what you will lose. So Lilith is going to enter into Sagittarius in your eighth house. Lilith in the eighth house is really something. You know, she's really something right there. She's really trying to intensify your connection when it comes to like hidden realms and the forbidden. You are drawn to healing. You know, you are drawn to healing the deeper layers of sexuality, of vulnerability, of soul merging. You know, this is this type of shadow alchemy, and you are reclaiming your sacred power, and not just control, but to transform, you know, your mind, your psychology. You're trying to transform and rise in power towards. The sun is going to enter into Capricorn. This is the day of the winter solstice. And if you haven't gone to watch the beginning of the video, definitely go watch it, because I feel like this is a real turning point for the month. Your focus turns outward, and you want to explore, you want to learn, you want to live in a higher perspective. I think that maybe traveling is favored, teaching, publishing is favored, international studies, like if you want to study something like a different language, if you want to see something, you want to travel for the end of December, you want to go somewhere and see something, this is a time where the world feels definitely larger. And so you have your role within it, and you feel like you have to go find it. And so like the sun is trying to illuminate this path towards purpose, and you start to see things in your story that actually carries wisdom in your journey, and it's really time for you to share those things, Taurus. So Venus is going to, which is your ruler, is entering into Capricorn. Venus is serious here, huh? She's she's in Capricorn, she's in the ninth house. Love really turns into wisdom. Relationships are going to gain meaning through like philosophical approaches, and even when it comes to approaches on purpose, you're going to attract people from like different backgrounds, or a person or a culture or something that really, inspires your growth. I think there can be financial blessings that can come through education, not your emotional, but definitely your like spiritual work. Like you traveling, you going somewhere, there can be more inspiration that brings you abundance. Venus in Capricorn really helps you ground your like faith in reality. And it's you learning that love is like love, like our belief system, is something that you build with like devotion and patience and learning and wisdom, and continuously like kind of transforming. You have to have some level of maturity in order to turn knowledge into wisdom, because we can be saying stuff and preaching stuff that we're actually not living by, and then it's just as knowledge that we're giving others. But when it becomes embodied wisdom, it's so much greater than that, Taurus, right? And so what's gonna begin, in this month feels like inner work. It feels like, you have to trust. It feels like there's this shared energy that is awakening a higher purpose, but you're learning that true like stability is gonna come from death and not just comfort. You're gonna shed this old fear of loss and stepping into like this powerful version of yourself, freer, wiser, and you're ready to rebuild something that's meaningful and something that lasts, Taurus. So there's a deep transformation about headed your way, but you're expanding through truth, and you're really learning to let go of control, and that's what it is. So it's like something wiser wants to guide your path forward, and it is not trying to destabilize you. It's really trying to show you to be secure and rooted in yourself. You must have trust, you must have faith, and you must have self-mastery or self-understanding, at least, Taurus. So yes, that's all I have for you, Taurus. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, Taurus. Hey, Gem Gem. Hey, Gemini rising. This is your December horoscope. So December starts off really focused on you, Gemini, right? We have a full moon on December 4th in your sign, in your first house. This is a house of self. This is a house of the body, the mind, the mental structure, the brain structure, and you are having a full moon here. So this is going to mark a personal major combination for you. You might reach a point of emotional clarity about who you are, what you want, what you don't want, what you're done with, and something you may have been working on since like mid-year can now reveal its results or come to some type of closure. The light from the moon the light from the moon, I mean, have you ever seen a full moon? It's so bright, like it's very, very bright. I would think that there's a projection on it in some type of way, but geez, the light is directly on you, and this is a revelation about who you are, a shedding of old roles so that your true self can actually emerge in some type of way. It's like you're seeing your inner truth and what has evolved, and it's time to let go of something in order to see your outer view, like catch up to what you actually believe inside or feel inside or know inside, Gemini. So Neptune is going to go direct on December 10th, and this is your natal 10th house, Gemini. So this is the last time that Neptune is going to be, doing its thing or lollygagging in your 10th house, because this is the last, Neptune is never going to go back into Pisces. And over the last few months of like fog and uncertainty about your career and about your direction in life, even your inspiration, I think that it going direct brings this renewed focus. Like your path may not be linear, but it is becoming clear as to why were delays that happen, that confusion had to happen and all of these things. You're learning that the purpose, like your purpose, isn't about effort alone. It isn't even found through effort alone. This is truly like surrendering to what's being revealed through you and what's being said through you. The more you're authentic your calling is, it's like the less you need to chase recognition. It's going to find you naturally, Gemini. And I think that's what you're learning, and that's what you learn as Neptune has been in your 10th house for these many years. But you're learning that letting things come to you is sometimes the best bet. It isn't the only bet. Of course, you must go after what you want, but also things, they realign and they readjust us and they put us on a better path. So Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith and Scorpio in your natal 6th house, December 11th. So this conjunction is going to bring intense thoughts about your health, about work, about routines. You can speak up about feeling unseen, overworked, or have conversations that reveal the hidden emotional dynamics in your workplace or in your day-to-day activities, even within you, like your mental capacity. You'll start to see where, you have to do shadow work in some type of way, because Lilith is bringing this shadow awareness to service, and what you're giving your energy to and what you are doing from obligation. So this involves you have to do shadow work on yourself, and understand that you're working from empowerment, you're not working from sacrifice. Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius on December 11th, and that is your natal 7th house. So Mercury and Sagittarius, this is partnerships that can these are partnerships that the you're making a decision about your partnerships. You can meet someone who expands your perspective on love and collaboration, and it's like your partners or other people. It doesn't even have to be partners, but the people that are in your life or your relationship, your marriage partner, they're going to become teachers now. Through dialogue, through reflection, you're learning how to see through other people's eyes without losing your own path. So yeah, Mars is going to enter into Capricorn on December 15th, and this is your natal 8th house. And so Mars in Capricorn is actually exalted. So it's moving through the sector of like intimacy and transformation and finances, and pushing you to really confront these emotional and financial entanglements head on. I think that this energy is so assertive, but it can be very aggressive as well. It's really going to demand deep honesty and courage to face what has been buried. This is a warrior entering into the underworld, and you can't destroy the underworld, but you can definitely liberate yourself from the underworld, because there's just as much as there's light, there is also darkness, and we need darkness just as well as we need light. So your strength now is going to come from facing your fears about vulnerability, around control, around manipulation, around trauma, all of these things. Mars is trying to cut through in Capricorn, but because Mars is exalted, it can take these things more seriously, and it can honestly get more done. So new moon in your 7th house in Sagittarius. So there can be a new cycle that begins for you. You can start a partnership, you can redefine one, you can find yourself, having a mutual understanding with someone. This relation is going to clear the past and really help you open your heart up to a more balanced dynamic, one that's built on mutual truth. This new moon is going to invite you to into like sacred mirroring. As you evolve, so are your people around you are supposed to evolve. It doesn't always happen, but if you're in like a marriage and a partnership, it definitely should be happening. Like the more honest that you become about your desires, the deeper that your connection can actually become. Gemini. And so Lilith is going to enter into your 7th house of Sagittarius. And okay, I mean, Lilith is going to liberate you from codependency. You know, love is going to become real when you're no longer afraid of the truth. This is what I want, and this is what I'm going to get. Lilith is saying in the 7th house, you know, it's going to electrify the themes of partnerships for months, you know, to come. So you want to expect more freedom, more intensity. You want to feel liberated. You want to feel authenticated in like how you relate to someone. You know, you're no longer tolerating this imbalance or this silence, or like your voice is demanding to be heard. And if it challenges any type of comfort zone, it doesn't really matter. You know, like it's not that it doesn't really matter, but it feels as though like if you're so uncomfortable and you're so unwilling to grow, I'm the one that has to burst this bubble, because you cannot conform to something that is ultimately going to hold you back, right? Lilith is not wanting to be held back. She's starting havoc if she has to in order to be heard. So the sun is going to enter into Capricorn in your 8th house, on December 21st, and the attention is going to shift inward. The sun is a very powerful force, you know, as I always like to say. So you're going to be really focused on like emotional healing, joint resources, intimacy, you know, sexual pleasures. You know, there's something private or deeply personal that's going to come to the light. And it's not from like, you don't need like drama, you don't need anything like that, but it's this truth that is asking to be integrated, you know, into something. And the sun is going to really bring up these hidden layers of your psyche. Transformation is not about like losing control, but it's about like reclaiming power from the places that you have once given it away. And when I say like regaining control, is like if you see someone or something that is revealed to you that seems a little bit dramatic that somebody else is doing, or even if you seem a little bit dramatic, it is not for you to hold on even tighter. It's for you to liberate yourself and see things from a more, I would say, a more mystic view. But if we go to darker terms, we see that people's childhood and their fathers and their father figures and even their older brothers, like these are figures, because you know this is the house that's ruled by Saturn. Like these are figures that had a deep impact on whoever you are sharing your joint intimacy with. And though that we start to understand, okay, people have traumas, they have these things about them, and you know, it makes them this way. That doesn't mean you can fix it. Okay, Gemini? So yes. Um, moving on to Venus being in Capricorn, this kind of softens it up a little bit on December 24th, moving into the 8th house. You know, these things kind of intertwine where multiple, like emotional connections, they become more magnetic, they can become more serious. You know, you're craving loyalty and depth and real transparency. And so shared monies and resources and investments, these can benefit, you know, but only if you're willing to build trust. You know, Venus in Capricorn gets a little bit more serious about what it's going to tolerate. And, you know, it wants to deepen the love, but it also wants to actually move up. Like it wants to go somewhere, you know, wants to know that it's headed towards a direction. And, you know, Venus here is, you know, softening the intensity of the transformation, but true intimacy is going to come from how you let love become a space of healing and not control. So, you know, in December, I feel like you're going from independence to interdependence, or you're going from codependency to interdependence. Like there's this courage and there's a clarity of the heart that comes to you, but it has to be learned through both strength and surrender. And your partnerships are going to marry your evolution in a way, and how you express this more authentic connection, you know, or these more authentic connection that you have with yourself, or who you're going to, you know, ultimately who you're trying to become, but there's a soul level merging that you have either with your lower self, that you're fighting your shadows, right? And I'm not saying like you're fighting them, well, literally you're fighting them because you're learning from them, right? But you are being defined or redefined to by what togetherness is. Shadow aspects are ultimately you, right? And it's really hard to connect with something that, or a new chapter in your life, when you are not understanding that you're actually sharing energy with these shadows as well. And you have to let them, you have to learn from them, right? They're, yes, they are lower selves, but they're anything to be ashamed and guilty about. These are things that are supposed to be balanced, and they're supposed to help us turn, another part of ourselves into power and trust. You know what I'm saying? So yes, this can be a really good month for, results and closure for you, Gemini. So yes, that's all I have for you, Gemini. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Gemini. Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to your December 2025 horoscopes. So, December invites you to balance work and health and partnership. So, anyways, like starting off of the month, right? This is a full moon in your natal 12th house in Gemini. And this can bring up hidden emotions, hidden subconscious patterns, or anything that is private, right? You can experience a sudden realization about something that you have been carrying silently. This is what happens behind closed doors, like stressing and worry and these unspoken fears that we may have, Cancer, and something might finally come to the light and have to be resolved. But this is behind the scenes. The full moon in the 12th house definitely is about what's going on in your inner world, and in secrets and dreams and intuitions. These things emerge now, and invites you to have better clarity about what your influences are on your daily life, on your decision making, and things of that nature. On December, that was December 4th. So on December 10th, you have Neptune going direct in your natal house of Pisces, which is your ninth house. So this is the last time that Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces, since you're going to be alive. So it's just such a profound time. This is really a time to be alive, because now, Neptune is going to be moving to your natal 10th house. And, just like, wow. But this going direct for the last time in our lifetime, this lifts the confusion on what you believe in, your long-term goals, your educational pursuits. I feel like your philosophical exploration, like, you may feel inspired again. You'll see why these past delays, these doubts, or these mishaps actually existed. Like, the deeper meaning to this transit was to deepen your faith, and to deepen your vision as well, your faith in the divine, your faith in your higher self, most importantly, and that everything happens just as it's supposed to. Every experience, Cancer, was meant to teach you something. And Neptune here reminds you that your purpose is guided by insight rather than logic alone. You're learning to trust your intuition and planning your next steps, listening to your intuition as well. So on December 11th, in your natal 5th house, there's going to be a Mercury conjunct Lilith in Scorpio. And this is a transit that really brings intensity to your creative sphere, your romances, your personal passions, your joy, your excitement, wanting to have fun. It really gets heightened, and there's conversations about love, about children, about personal pursuits, personal joy. And it's going to touch on these raw truths that you may uncover. And there's hidden desires that can come to play, especially with Lilith, or these unspoken feelings that can surface in order to be resolved. But Lilith in your fifth house really illuminates your authentic expression. You're really encouraged to claim joy in the best way in the way that you want to claim joy. You're willing to pursue pleasure without guilt and to play and create very boldly. And the fifth house has to do with your children as well, and just being free to laugh and play. And so Lilith conjunct, Mercury is going to really bring that to light. Like, you have to, I won't say you have to play, but you're not going to be restricted on you're not going to be restricted on what brings you joy anymore. You're going to seriously try to go find it and make that a part of your life. So Mercury is going to enter Sagittarius on December 11th, and this is your natal sixth house. And with Mercury in your sixth houses is actually pretty good because your mind becomes sharpened around your routines, around your work, around your health, and you start to reorganize your schedule. You're clarifying like priorities. You're negotiating your responsibilities if you need to negotiate, or you're better at negotiating. You can even talk to people more on a day-to-day basis. Like, communication becomes very purposeful and practical for you. This is a house of service as well, and so you're becoming smarter by letting your insight guide you and letting your intuition guide you, or your freedom, your faith guide you, and you're learning to efficiently work without losing your essence or your energy, Cancer. Mars is going to enter into your seventh house in Capricorn, but Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So partnerships and, marriages, this is the house of other people. You can expect to have motivation on that forefront, action to take around partnerships, both personal, both professional. Challenges can arise, when the dynamic is not healthy, but if they push you toward like a healthier dynamic, then there can be a lot of mutual understanding. Mars here is going to teach that person or you about assertiveness, and assertiveness when it comes to collaborating with others as well, like saying what you want. True connection is earned through like honesty and courage and shared effort, especially if you want to like go places. You definitely have to work together in order to build something that is stable. The new moon in your sixth house in Sagittarius is going to be on December 20th. And this is in your natal sixth house again. And so a new moon in the sixth house can bring these fresh new beginnings in health and work. You may start something new. You can adopt a new habit that works better for you. It kind of frees up your time in a day as well. And it helps you redefine how you manage responsibilities, Cancer. Deep down, I think that the deeper meaning behind this new moon is to energize your day, like to energize you in a day. It's not as pressure. It's not, anything that is meant to break you down. This is helping you have the opportunity to build routines that are aligned with your higher self. So that's pretty good. Lilith is actually going to enter into your sixth house for a couple of months in Sagittarius. And so Lilith in the sixth house is really speaking her truth. She's awakening this awareness within you around self-sacrifice, around self-care, around work. Like, what are you actually going to do? I don't think that you're going to be, taking what you've been taking over the past like couple of months, because like there is this drawing feeling to asserting your independence when it comes to being, at work, when it comes to redefining how you serve others. You're going to refuse to be like overextended or like take it for granted. Lilith is definitely going to make that happen. Like, your power is going to manifest through discipline, freedom. Yes, Cancer, but it's going to be, like caring for yourself is no longer optional. It must happen. Like, it is actually a sacred routine for you now. the sun is going to enter into your seventh house in Capricorn. And so the sun in the seventh house can bring attention to like partnerships and contracts and, co-created ideas and things of that nature. And the relationships that align with your vision, these are the relationships that's going to thrive with the sun in the seventh house, while those that drain you definitely become, clearer, kind of like what is ciphering your solar energy, things that make you excited and happy, or things that you are really drawn, like things that you really want to get done. You're going to see where people are starting to become draining. The deeper meaning here is you need to learn to center yourself, your authentic self in relationships, and not by losing yourself, but by harmonizing with your needs and with others and things of that nature. Venus is going to enter into Capricorn in your seventh house. I think this brings a sweet type of seriousness, like what you want. It kind of softens and beautifies your interactions with other people. Venus in the seventh house is kind of lovely because partnerships can gain like warmth and diplomacy. Like there's this dynamic that wants mutual respect. You can experience like smoother negotiations. Like you are trying to really go in deep when it comes to intimacy, and it comes to like, attracting new people or new collaborations. The deeper meaning for Venus in your seventh house is that love and connection are grounded in loyalty and practicality and charm and kindness. These are going to strengthen your influence in like your personal and your professional bonds. Venus in the seventh house really does bring that sweet aspect for you, Cancer. And so you can begin to really, clarify your personal needs, and you end by like harmonizing with those around you. Cancer, this month is going to actually be more disciplined, but yet more intimate and grounded in your self-awareness, and capable of like connecting with people without losing your autonomy. I think that that's what this month is actually going to teach you, and just showing you how your everyday bonds and choices can really impact your closest bond as well. So how you care for yourself is going to affect how you care for others, and vice versa, Cancer. So yeah, that's all I have for the month of December for you, Cancer. Good luck, and be more serious about yourself. That way you can take others seriously. Listen to your intuition, because you are one of a kind, Cancer. So that's all I have. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, Cancer. Hey there, Leo. So Leo rising, this is your December 2025 horoscopes. And December starts off with a full moon in Gemini in your natal 11th house on December 4th. And this brings closure. You can experience closure. You can experience a combination around a community involvement, around a social goal. Even like your long-term aspirations, your friendship circles, anything that you're like involved in the community. The 11th house can do with like adoption. It can do with like the older sibling. These are intentions that are definitely made clear, or you realize that friends are not genuinely here for your support and trying to support your growth. There can be networking that reflects your evolution. And what feels fulfilling now is not just about connection, but it's about aligning with your higher vision. Friendships and collaborations that no longer serve you are going to naturally fall away under this full moon. And I think a lot to do with socially, Leo. So Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces, which is your natal 8th house. And this is the last time that Neptune is going to be in Pisces. So of course, this is groundbreaking, because Neptune, like moving forward, is going to bring a lot of clarity when it comes to like shared resources, finances, and emotional intensity. Not intensity, right? We're talking about Neptune, emotional intimacy. There is this deep personal transformation that Neptune has brought you many, many times, being in your natal 8th house. But here's where you can finally understand why your past losses, your past debts, your past intimate challenges really occurred in your life. Like, there is this deeper meaning of hidden currents in your emotional and financial life that are extremely visible now with Neptune going direct, and insights can really arrive, but not as a rush. This is a house of transformation, darkness and your inner turmoil and pain and all of these things. But there's a quiet knowing that you have gained from this transit, and transformation is going to come from surrender, which you are already knowing, but also from discernment as well. In the Neptune in the 8th house can want to carry the next person's pain and trauma and all of these things upon their back. However, Neptune is dissolving that for the last time in Pisces. Let it go. Let it be dissolved, please, Leo. So Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio in your natal 4th house. And Mercury conjuncting Lilith brings a conversation at home or with family members, with a mother archetype, with even your marriage partner as well, people that you are in the home with, your children. This can bring up like undercover truths, or hidden truths as well, even like past dynamics that have to do with like unspoken tension or secrets. These can resurface. It's prompting you to have this honest dialogue, and you can feel more assertive about creating a home environment that really reflects your authentic self. Lilith in the 4th house is where you have been constrained in some type of way in your personal life, and you are now speaking your truth. That is restoring your sovereignty, that is opening space for your authentic emotional grounding. And Lilith will go to verbal combat in the 4th house, or emotional combat if she has to, in order to break these ties that come with freedom. She's really trying to dig deep into your ancestral patterns and break them and free you from them. So definitely take that transit and do something with that, like break free from something that is trying to hold you down. Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius, which is your natal 5th house. And when Mercury enters Sagittarius, like, your mind becomes creative, and not that it isn't, it's already creative, but like it's like romance and joy. It's like you start planning ways to express yourself, express your excitement. You can bring recognition in this house. You can put in order what you want to create in this world. This is great for like teaching children, mentoring children, even just teaching in general. There's a playful expression that is going to flow naturally within you now, Leo. And I think that clarity or curiosity, most important, is like, curiosity is really what's gonna fuel your heart, and clarity is gonna come through you through this, because you're trying to free your mind. You're trying to be as free as possible. You're trying to experiment. You're trying to learn. You're trying to share joy with others. Like, just joy becomes this form of self-empowerment for you, Leo. So Mars is going to enter into Capricorn, which is your natal 6th house, and Mars in Capricorn is in its exalted sign. So in the 6th house Mars is trying to get ish done, Leo, like really trying to get stuff done. There's action that is shifting towards routines and towards work and health, and you have a lot more energy. Like, I remember when Mars was in my 6th house. Oh my God, like, you have so much energy. Please use it. Get up, do something. And you just have, like I said, you have this extra energy to tackle like daily responsibilities, and there's this momentum that is flowing, that is building, and anything that needs to get done is going to require constant effort. However, the physical stamina is freaking at its focus peak, so you have to use this energy, and you can feel compelled to like optimize your environment for efficiency if you need to. The deeper meaning behind Mars in the 6th house is that discipline is going to transform from creativity, into mastery, from service into like wholeness. There's this passion that is amplified when structured into daily effort rather than this scattered indulgence, Leo. So there's a new moon in your natal fifth house in Sagittarius. This is fantastic. This is great for, conceiving a child, in my opinion. A child that's going to really break you out of the box, and this is also a lunation that can you honor your inner child, your inner curiosity, your joy. So just think about having a child, or conceiving a child. Those who are during this time, it's like your romantic and personal passions, these are going to emerge. It's going to feel like you're more inspired to take risks, be bold, that are something that's really going to express your authentic self. Your personal expression is very sacred, Leo. As I always say, it's just something very special about Leo placements, right? You are now embracing it as something that is the foundation of your truest self. And this is what's going to bring like long-term fulfillment by loving yourself, right? By loving the way that you express yourself in a free and a teaching way. So Lilith is going to enter into the fifth house, okay, in Sagittarius. And so over the next couple of months, your creativity, it's going to be a little bit more vulgar. Your romance, you're like, I'm not just going to take anything and anybody. I don't want what I don't want. I want something fun. I want something freeing. You stay over here and I'll stay over here. You're going to be confronting fears around judgment as well as rejection, and as well as indulgence. And of course, your self-expression is going to deepen and intensify, but you're learning that instead of you have to claim your right to play and shine to be unapologetic. Like you have to learn ways to deal with a rejection. You have to learn ways to deal with indulgence. And you have to learn ways in order to liberate you so that you can express joy. True empowerment is going to come when you express your heart without compromise, without fear. And not everyone, with Lilith in the fifth house, not everyone is going to like the things that you have to say or like you, Leo, but trust me, it's so much better to be as truthful and optimistic and creative as possible within the fifth house. This is the house of Dharma. So people who will resonate with you are definitely going to resonate with you when Lilith goes in the fifth house, because it's like liberating the feminine, right? And this is a masculine house as well. So it's like, you're not going to tie me down. And also, like, if you reject me, like, it's your loss. So Sun is going to enter into your natal sixth house, which is Capricorn. And the Sun in Capricorn, this is the winter solstice as well. This is where your focus really goes into what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, your health. This is a time where you're starting to integrate your creative energy into your daily life. This is aligning you with passion, but with practicality. The Sun is highlighting your mastery through consistency, and what you do every day reflects the quality of your long-term achievements, Leo. And then Venus is going to make its way on December 24th into Capricorn in your natal sixth house, which I think is fantastic. Venus in the sixth, because it's bringing this harmonious like attraction towards support and admiration and collaboration if need be. Like your service and your work feels more enjoyable and easier, and there's opportunities that can appear that both enhance your like pleasure and your efficiency. Love and beauty, that's what Venus stands for. But Venus can bring all types of things, jealousy, but it really wants to bring togetherness, but in Capricorn, it wants to bring seriousness about what love is and how you use your love to care for another person on a day-to-day basis. Venus in Capricorn wants to bring alignment between your heart and your habit to enhance both like your fulfillment and also your influence. December is between is balancing an act between like play and responsibility and inspiration with like discipline for you, Leo. This is moving towards your personal expression and even like intimate home matters of that, sword, and trying to like rearrange what you do every day in order to have like practical mastery. You're learning that joy alone is very powerful, but structured joy changes the world. Things that you do and say that actually mean something and matter, that is going to change your world in the way that you're seeing things. You're going to have more clarity and be more focused on how you can manifest like your passions responsibly, and also things that are impactful as well. Your confidence, your charisma, and your leadership, Leo, can really shine, but like the true lesson is aligning your creative desires with disciplined effort. So you definitely have to learn to turn your playful energy into something tangible. And I think that this month is gonna blend, that inspiration with practical action for you perfectly. So yes, Leo, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Leo. Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your December 2025 horoscopes. So on December 4th, Gemini, it's going to be a full moon in Gemini happening in your natal 10th house. And so this full moon is going to illuminate your life path. This is your public image, how the world is seeing you. So you can expect recognition, achievement, or closure around something that you have been doing or where your life has been headed, but you really don't want it to be headed. And things like feeling pressured or excitement about your visibility can increase, or if you don't want it to increase. Like, this can go either way. It definitely depends on, because Gemini is the duality. So it definitely depends on the aspect that this full moon is making in your chart specifically. But you just want to understand that success is going to be tied to your authentic truth and your authenticity. And this full moon is going to encourage you to align with your path that is also aligned with your personal values. So only when, something is truly satisfying is where you're going to get like recognition for it, or you're going to feel a sense of achievement. On December 10th, it's going Neptune is going to go direct into your natal 7th house. So this is Neptune's last time going direct, and don't worry, Virgo, finally Neptune is leaving your 7th house. This was once in a lifetime, right? And it was pretty difficult to have Neptune in the 7th house. You weren't really seeing people as you should have saw them. There was a lot of illusions to break through, a lot of attracting people who had addictive tendencies or shadow tendencies or things they couldn't see. It's like you saw their potential, but that was all that it was. You know what I'm saying? It was something way beneath the surface, something that you tried to love, but maybe you couldn't. Or you could have met someone who was extremely divine, right? They had a lot of, they bring you a lot of inspiration, or, they bring you a lot of, I would say, like faith or lessons around faith. But even so, with Neptune going direct for the last time in the house of partnerships, there can be a misunderstanding that finally clears up, or there can be illusions that really close for the last time as the last chapter in relationships, and they begin to dissolve for good. Neptune has been in there for the last, since 2011. So this has been a long, long time coming. Or you can reconnect with someone from your past. Neptune has to do with the past, so does Pisces. And you can see things from a deeper purpose in the current collaboration that you're in. 7th house has to do with marriage partners, has to do with other people, exes, and all those things. But the deeper meaning with Neptune in the 7th house is teaching you, teaching you lessons through surrender, through faith, through, these emotional currents as well, because you learn that clarity is actually not by controlling others. It's in this deep understanding and trying to connect with others, but you also cannot self-sacrifice. And that's a lot with Neptune in the seventh house, is self-sacrificing your own health, your own identity, like your own evolution in order to help someone else grow. So that transit could have been really magnificent, yes, and magical and all of those things in a sense, but it could have also been like you're confronting someone's deepest sorrow. So Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio, and this is your natal third house. And so of course this has to do, and that's December 11th, this has to do with dynamics around your mental formulas, communication, your neighborhood, interactions with other people. This can reveal like hidden truths, and it can also uncover something that you previously didn't notice, or you have conversations that feel very faded during this conjunction. Lilith in the third house is definitely going to make something noticeable to you, because she's going to awaken your mind, and she's going to awaken what's its like hidden influence. So I would definitely pay attention to what people are speaking over me, and listen what you're listening to, and make sure you're listening and speaking with honesty now, because it can have a lot of transformative power, both personally and also with other people, like within your immediate environment, your siblings, your aunts or uncles, like all types of people who are around you. Currently you can have just some type of awakening of intelligence within your mind. This conjunction is pretty big. Mercury is talking. It's in the sign of Scorpio, which is trying to get to the truth. So I wouldn't take that, pretty lightly. I would definitely listen. And so on December 11th, Mercury is going to enter into your natal fourth house, which is Sagittarius. So you're bringing the truth to your family now, Virgo. And you could start thinking towards, your family dynamics, your ancestral patterns, your inner, security, your emotional body. You start maybe planning moves. You start renovating, planning family projects. Mercury is such a good planner and organizer that it really wants to awaken this within your natal fourth house. There's a lot of mental energy here, but it's like focused on creating this stable foundation that is inspiring and expansive and stable. And I think that the deeper meaning here is that wisdom honestly begins at home. And I wouldn't say wisdom begins at home. I would say that we learn from, this is the house of our parents and the mother, but we learn from our environment. We learn from how we grew up, our childhood, and, we're sent in this universe with things that are like our ancestors have done, right? We have ancestral codes, we have ancestral curses and traumas and things, and misfocused energy that is within us, and we don't know it unless we start awakening to who we truly are, and patterns and things of that nature. And for you, Virgo, you are aware of patterns. You know what it means to need some type of help, whether it's mental, medical, emotional, and you can see it in others. But, I feel like this is a transit that helps you have this more expansive mind, where you can see structure through like your personal life and how it influences your confidence and creativity. Mars is going to enter into Capricorn on December 15th. And Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so this is okay. This is in your natal fifth house. And so Mars is trying to energize your creativity, energize your joy and your personal development, your personal joy, what's romantic to you, what you find fun and exciting, and sports and all of those things, and going out and having this enthusiasm about life. And you have, you have this drive to start new things, to pursue hobbies, to express yourself boldly. Even with romantic encounters, you can feel like it's thrilling, you're being more assertive in that aspect. You have more action and you want to play. Like all of these things become intertwined for you, and your creative. Excuse me, your creativity is like the strongest when you take initiative and you start pushing beyond your comfort zone. Mars and Capricorn is definitely going to push you beyond your comfort zone, whether it's, in a step-by-step way. Like, Mars and Capricorn, as I said, is exalted, but you see this doer, which is Mars, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So it's like we're planning for this long-term success. How are we going to do this? But it's so comfortable in Mars that it's going to feel like this is energized, like I'm making this happen for myself, whatever it is. Fourth house can have to do with fifth house can have to do with children as well, and tackling things. But it's such a fun place. Fifth house is the house of Dharma, that whatever you're trying to pursue, it feels very exciting. So new moon in Sagittarius in your natal fifth house. So, okay, Virgo, here we have, and this is on December 20th, here we have these fresh new beginnings that are occurring at home and within your family. Even certain responsibilities that are happening like within your household, renovations. There can be a move. Most importantly, when Sagittarius is involved, there can definitely be wanting to move. Emotional foundations exist in the fourth house, and that can feel renewed. This is allowing you to approach life with more confidence and more understanding. Sagittarius really wants you to understand, the beliefs that can set you free. It really wants you to have that inner security that's gonna fuel your outer expression. The fourth house is about being private. So, it's also about your roots too, like I said, your ancestral patterns, and you need to establish these roots that are preparing you to step into more joy and more, what is it called? Optimism and more creativity. Sagittarius is really trying to get you to have faith in something, and, maybe what you get another chance to have faith in something else, maybe what you have been thinking or told as a child, it doesn't go with your beliefs anymore. So Lilith is also going to enter into your fourth house on December 20th. And so, yes, she's really going to awaken. This is going to be a couple months Lilith is in here. So Lilith is very persistent, and her presence is going to influence the fourth house. And so this is going to intensify themes of, what do you call it? Like wanting to be independent at home. You're going to start questioning traditions and these parental expectations that people may have for you, Virgo, or these inherited patterns. Like they are creating, Lilith is trying to create space for a home environment that truly reflects your truth. And Lilith in the fourth house, I would say that that's really not anything to play with. You really are doing like this shadow work at home, but it's strengthening your sense of self, your sense of security and emotional foundation. And so if you have to let go of patterns that no longer serve you, like let's say believing in, we're talking about Sagittarius, is like having faith in a church or having faith in this one place of worship. This is something that can fall away, because you can worship from any, parts of your home. You can worship outside. There's no way to actually find, the highest source unless you're looking within yourself. And so these are themes that can happen with Lilith going into Sagittarius. Anything that is keeping you confined and telling you you can only do one thing, Virgo, it's not going to work anymore. You are starting to reclaim this personal power, and it's going to begin in your private life. So, Lilith in the fourth house definitely is going to awaken something inside of you that your ancestors need. So please, become that voice that really speaks up, and I wouldn't say speak to rebellion against the family, but speak to rebellion against the things that have confined your family, and you you start to become aware of these patterns. The sun is going to enter into Capricorn in your natal fifth house, and that's going to be on December 24th, December 21st. And on December 21st, this is also the winter solstice. And the winter solstice is really a time of I would say it's a time where your soul is really acts to reflect in the darkness, and then the sun goes into Capricorn. So we can just say that, the sun, but this is also the fifth house, right? Because the sun loves the fifth house. This is where it really thrives. And we can say that your creativity, like you're asked to really express yourself in ways that are going to attract attention and joy, but this has to be very authentic. If it is something that's not authentic, Virgo, it's not going to be fun. You have to really bring moments of like joy and focus and pride into the things that you do, and respect. It's like your light is going to shine brightest when you're rooted in an emotional security. And whether this has to do with finding confidence that is really going to flow between stability with expression, like this has to be a long-term thing. We're talking about Capricorn. It can't just be like this little glimpse of fun. Ultimately, those things are not going to feel fulfilling in the fifth house, especially at the time of such reflection, right? What is actually enjoyable, and it is not always just going out. Sometimes it really is like this disciplined creative work. I'm going to do this every day because this is going to bring me joy, or I'm going to set this type of routine. And Venus on December 24th, Venus is going to enter into your natal fifth house in Capricorn as well. So Venus here is enhancing love. You have you have Mars going through your natal fifth house, and you have Venus you have going through your natal fifth house, and also the sun. These are pretty great things to have, energizing the fifth house, because it's trying to enhance your joy, your personal, what makes you happy. And that's really nice during this time of reflection on the inner soul, because love and creativity are like most fulfilling when it's started to feel grounded in reality. Discipline, now it's going to enhance as well. But Venus in Capricorn is very serious about the things that it gets done. This is favorable for like attention, but Venus in the fifth house attracts so much attention, and you can find beauty and joy within yourself, even in practical aspects of your natural creative like abilities, things that you naturally can create. You'll just be really surprised at the things that you can create under these transits. You really want to like solidify your foundations and start to end I wouldn't say start like it, things are going to come to an end, because you're going to have certain realizations around, family and home, but you need to channel this like stability into joy, into creativity, into even romance, and falling in love with yourself too. Again, Virgo, there's been, K2 is still in your sign. There's been a lot of things that have come to the light for you, but you're going to feel more secure, I think, by the end of this month, and more confident to express yourself, and more confident to, like integrate, like I said, romance, and integrating things that are grounded into this reality. And, love is the highest frequency here in the physical realm. And so whatever is gonna harmonize your inner world, and create like outward expression, this is where you want to build security, or build a secure base, from your unique talents, because these are the things that can flourish under these transits. So yes, that's all I have for you, Virgo. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, Virgo. Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your December 2025 horoscopes. Libra, this month is going to start off with a full moon in Gemini in your natal ninth house. And so full moons in the ninth house, this is a house of Dharma, 1, 5, and 9. nice experiences, good experiences, things that are meant to teach us, and our self-development are all things, right? In the ninth house, because you were dealing with your higher self. And so expansion wants to begin around reflection and how you're seeing knowledge and how you're seeing your education and travel and even your spiritual insights to the world. This can bring a lot of insight that transforms your sense of self and your long-term direction. So, Gemini has to do with duality, so there's this long distance travel maybe that you will have to go on. That you can have higher learning in this house. This is your house of your personal philosophy. This is about reaching a turning point in your studies, turning point in your travel plans or belief systems. Something that really is going to broaden your perspective and provide clarity. That's what the full moon is going to bring for you. And like I said, there's two sides to Gemini. So you have to do what works for you, but also there's a shadow side of the things that we believe in, right? They run our life. And so we have to really take pride in what, and I wouldn't even say take pride, I would just say be very wisdomatic about why we believe these things. And when you're authentic about those things, you take whatever comes with it because it's your truth. Neptune is going to go direct in your natal sixth house for the last time. Finally, it's moving on to your seventh house. That's going to be a whole different type of story, but this story is about, and this is happening on December 10th. This story is more about, clearing away any confusions that have to do with your, self-related services, your routines, your health. This is the last time that you're going to ever see Neptune in your natal sixth house, since as you're alive here. And you're going to gain clarity about a work project or some type of health concern that has been really frustrating, or maybe you couldn't find, the cause of some things. Neptune in the sixth house really requires you to have a daily activity that is of worship, is of faith. You're diving into your divinity. These are subtle energies that Neptune is bringing that are guiding your daily life. And it's not going to stop when Neptune goes into the seventh house. It isn't. You're going to be inspired by people. But now that, as it's going direct for the last time, you're inspired by work. You're inspired by health matters. Things that are coming from your intuition, things that are coming from your mind. And Neptune is not forceful. So you're learning to trust this flow, or you have learned to trust this flow. It has been in Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. So you are learning to trust this flow, or you have learned to trust this flow. And like I said, it isn't going to stop. It's something, Neptune is something that actually stays with you. And I would suggest that you're doing some type of activity that, works your energetics every single day. Libra, that's really important as far as like meditation, going for walks, getting out and about. So even sacred service, you cannot give to every single one. And a lot of Libras could be doing well with like therapy and suffering and helping people recover from their traumas and charity work and things of that nature. But Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio in your natal second house on December 11th. So Mercury conjuncting Scorpio in the house of the second. Shadow dynamics can come up when money is involved, right? When your self-worth is involved. You're learning to claim your worth without guilt and to discern where love values actually lie beyond what is appearing to you. There can be hidden truths that come to light around resources. You could discover, or you could uncover like these unseen motives in others, or even gain deeper insights into your earning and your potential and your value. Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius on December 11th as well. And this is your natal third house. Libra, having Mercury in the third house is, I think that, your mind is extremely active, and it is really open outward towards this learning, towards communication, like connecting through speech in your immediate environment. So ideas are going to flow very easily here. At they're going to be expensive ideas. New information is going to excite you, Libra, and it's like these conversations can spark a lot of inspiration for you. There's a lot of mental doors, mental curiosity that is coming, and these doors are going to open for you. And you have to engage in like open communication with the people around you. Understanding that you're building knowledge that actually strengthens your sense of direction and personal confidence. Mercury in the third house is really good. Mars in the fourth house of Capricorn. This is happening on December 15th. And Mars in the fourth house, this is energy that is based from your family sector, right? Or your home sector, your emotional body. You are driven to take action in these domestic matters, as far as moving, as far as renovating. You can assert boundaries when it comes to family and when it comes to like your emotional energy. I think your emotional energy is pretty high, but this is a time for you to really protect your private life. Even you will become really protective over your private life, or motivated to protect, like your private emotions and private spiritual body. You have a lot of assertive energy when Mars is in Capricorn, just because it's exalted as well. And as far as your like foundation, this is going to allow you to want personal space and security and have courage in addressing these home matters that you need to address. This is a groundwork for like lasting stability. Sometimes we even have to set boundaries at home. Mars is exalted here, even though Mars doesn't really like the fourth house because of all of the emotions that's going on in it. It can cause some type of this distance, but ultimately, because this is exalted for you, Libra, I really think that Mars is trying to have this effective approach when it comes to setting boundaries, things that, you need to be headed towards. You're not going to just let emotions easily defer you or take you out of the game. There's going to be a new moon in Sagittarius happening on December 3rd. It's not December 3rd, in your third house, but on December 20th. This new moon is a fresh cycle when it comes to your communicating style, your mental style, your connections, your learning. You could start something new, like a new course, or maybe dialogue is going to bring clarity, or you're going to start setting intentions around, your intellectual growth, your mental growth. This is now where seeds are being planted for growing into wisdom, a lot of wisdom later, or a lot of experience as well in the third house. You can, be involved in like short-term travel and traveling. Like this new moon, is going to encourage you to have this mental initiative and use words and tools for empowerment, and use your mind for empowerment as well, and learning, learning, most importantly, is going to be under the Sagittarius. So the third house, Lilith is going to enter into your third house in Sagittarius. And this Lilith in the third house, let's just say that your mind becomes this deep vessel for unfiltered insight. Lilith in the third house can feel compelled, you Libra can feel compelled to speak these truths that are going to challenge conventional thinking, whether it's with the people around you, your siblings, whoever you're talking to. Like your communication is going to be inspired to explore these esoteric subjects, or subjects that are not talked about much, like religion, faith, education, travel, all of these different things that, people just do just because they feel like they have to. Lilith is not going to, stand for that. She's going to speak out in honesty when it comes to communication, and start strengthening your influence and even sharpening your discernment as well, Libra. The sun is going to enter into Capricorn in your natal fourth house. And this is December 21st. So the sun is illuminating the fourth house. And also, the sun in the fourth house is uncomfortable, but also you have Mars in there. Venus is going to go in there later that month as well, but leadership is definitely going to begin at home. And I will be mindful that you manage your private life with reflecting on, you know, how you engage with the world in confidence, how you engage with your family, start nurturing your roots and establishing security. Start creating a sanctuary that supports your personal growth. The sun Libra can bring up things that, your father has done, your older brother, like men, the masculine energy have done inside of the home. And this can bring a lot of pride within you, or, you unwilling to let go because of pride. But this brings darkness to your soul, Libra, just because, like, this is the time, when the sun enters the Capricorn, this is a time where you are asked to deeply reflect. And in the fourth house, this is private. You're deeply reflecting on the things that have happened to you in childhood. Do not let this ruin what you have going on in your life, Libra, even though this is a time of reflection. Venus is going to enter into Capricorn, on December 24th, which is pretty good because it's your natal fourth house. So this is softening the dynamics. You have reasons for why these things are happening in family matters, relationships, and household, activities. Like, these things start to improve when Venus goes in there, and you start to want to create this harmonious, environment. Your domestic life becomes more enjoyable because things are starting to feel pleasing. You're starting, like I said, to understand the reasons why things happen the way that they happen. And there's an emotional support that, Venus brings in the fourth house. So, like, beauty and love and all of these things that influence your foundation, they bring you emotional satisfaction. And, like, it starts to come from you trying to create harmony with those around you, and not just like seeking it externally. You start feeling it internally. Your mind is energized this month. This is a month where your worldview and learning and even social interactions can transition into nurturing, in a nurturing personal dynamic space. Like, these things are really private to you, but with clearer thought, I think that you become more grounded, more emotionally aligned, and, like, your intellectual efforts, they're going to lay the foundation for future personal growth, future stability. Libra, you want to remember that, what you process internally or socially now is going to directly shape your sense of security, your sense of emotional grounding. And let this month be a bridge for the external and the internal, like your private life, but also, your mental influence, your mental energy, and your daily interactions, anything, but you really want to start at home. You know what I'm saying, Libra? You really want to start what's most private to you and your childhood and all those things, right? So, Libra, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Libra. Hey Scorpio, welcome to your December horoscope. So Scorpio, the month is going to start out in your natal 8th house, and there's going to be a full moon in Gemini on December 4th. And so this full moon is illuminating your intimate bonds, your sexual activities, your shared resources, as well as debts, loans, or inheritances. There's a financial or emotional combination that's going to occur in your natal house. Like, for instance, there's clarity on maybe a loan, there's clarity on anything that has to do with borrowed or like shared resources, like investments or any type of partnership dynamic when it comes to sharing monies. And you're learning the deeper rules and values of exchange. This is a lunation that's going to ask you to discern what you give and what you receive in relationships, emotionally, financially, energetically, even materially. And so Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces in your natal 5th house. And this is the last time in a lifetime, Scorpio. And so because this is trining you, right? Pisces is trining you. You have been extremely magnetic, inspiring, magical, all types of things that have brought joy into your life, but also it's like you had to turn your joy and transmute it into something tangible. or you had to alchemize a lot of your experiences. Neptune in the fifth house can bring a lot of dharmic tendencies, which can be good things, right? The first house is dharma, the ninth house is dharma, as well as the fifth. So this is inspiration. There's inspiration, and there has been a lot of inspiration over, the past, since 2011. And anything that is confusing around creativity, romance, and personal, aspirations, this is where your inspiration is going to return, and you're going to feel like you finally understand why all there has been misunderstandings, that has been confusions, or what you may have, thought about as early, like delays, or things that are not working out for you in that aspect. Creatively, like you can't fully express your joy, you can't feel it. Anything that has happened, let's just say this, Scorpio, anything that has happened, you feel like it has a reason for it to have happened. Like you're reminded that fulfillment arises from not like forcing outcomes, but from allowing creativity and like love to flow through you naturally, and flow through the things that you create in this world. Joy and laughing and being funny and laughing at jokes, and just making any type of thrill and excitement, those are things that come kind of like spontaneous, right? And they come from the universe. So you could have had a lot of universal laughter, or reasons for things that have brought you joy. Like there's just this joyful expression that becomes clearer for you. This is the last time that is going to happen on December 10th, it going direct. But this is such a profound time for you to understand that anything that you go through in life, this is always going to be meant to teach you something, especially with Neptune transiting the fifth house. So many things have happened that have been like you feel like you don't have the answers for, but when it goes direct, you will have the answers for why it felt like a delay, or felt like something sad happened and you had to transmute it into something happy. Like, excuse me, there's a lot of what do you call it, like aha moments with this Neptune going direct for the last time in Pisces. On December 10th, you're going to have a Mercury conjuncting, Lilith in your first house. And wow, right? Lilith has been in your first house for quite some time now. And now this transit is sharpening your, let's say, like communication, right? Your self-expression. And you're learning to confront truths about how you present yourself, or how others are perceiving you in this world. Like there are hidden aspects of your personality that are going to surface. But Lilith here in this conjunction wants to illuminate your personal power through words, right? Through interactions with other people, through conversation. So you're speaking your truth that reinforces who you are, maybe your autonomy, you know what I'm saying? Or even the way that you speak about your body, the way that you speak about your mind, the way you communicate to others, she is transforming your perceptions of yourself and others in the best way possible. This is a way of speaking that is liberating you. Over the last couple of months, you could have been speaking in a way that is more freeing for you. Maybe others find it controversial, but you find it like, this is my truth and this is what I'm going to speak. Lilith in the first house brings this demeanor of, I'm not going to put up with anything that is trying to hold me down. Like, you ain't going to tie me down. Literally, that's Lilith in the first house, because she wants to free you from any chains that is on you, whether it has to do with relationships, whether it has to do with yourself. She's breaking you free from things that you have been taught, or you have let your mind and your body wander without actually being deserving of you. So Mercury is going to enter into your second house of Sagittarius, and this is also happening on December 11th. So your thoughts are going to turn into like you're thinking more about income opportunities, right? Or like personal values and resources and finances as a second house, and the things that you are accumulating. So you're planning, you're budgeting. Mercury is great in the second house for planning, budgeting, negotiating. These are the type of matters that are favored under Mercury being in the seventh house. You're trying to understand how your worth now can extend beyond money. You have to remember that it does. Scorpio, and it also is going to, the second house also talks about your natural talents and, your familial patterns. So your talents and your choices and the energy that you bring into your pursuits now will bring you clarity, because it's setting the tone for financial empowerment, whether it's in the future, whether it's financial freedom in some type of way. Scorpio, you have the house of monies in, what do you call it, in Sagittarius. I remember that Jupiter, which is Sagittarius ruler, is in its exalted sign of Cancer, which is your ninth house. So it's truly about what you are believing in, and that is also another water sign, right? So you have to really think about what is your belief system to life, and really run and choose to have one, and let go of anything that is familial. That's the word. Something that's familiar to you. Any tendencies like that, let those go in order to move forward, so you can extend beyond like even your expectations. Scorpio. Mars, which is your ancient ruler or traditional ruler, is going to be entering into Capricorn, which is this exalted sign. And let's say that this is happening on December 15th, and right, this is the third house. And so Mars wants to energize your interaction and your interactions, and Mars wants to energize the way that you speak to people and the conversations that you're in. Mars can be very direct. It can actually come up pretty cold in the third house, but it's for a reason. Like, you feel driven to take action, whether it comes to speaking, writing, teaching, travel, or anything like that, or just speaking to people. And in general, speaking up for what you believe in, conversations with siblings in your immediate environment. I think that this assertiveness is like, or even this assertiveness in your communication is a tool for advancement, for future advancement. There's purposeful like action, when it comes to what you're speaking. You actually are speaking from a place of longevity, and these type of talks or conversations can now open the doors to resolving this lingering misunderstandings. And so, like I said, things in the third house, if people are not understanding what's coming out of your mind, then or the things that you're saying are under this, you're going to be able to structure it correctly, where people know this is what I'm saying, this is how I'm coming across, whether it's cold or not. Do you get this or not? And Venus is going to enter into, Capricorn later on in the month. But let's go on with the new moon in your natal second house. So this is a fresh financial start, whether it has to do with feeling better about money, your value-based system, like some type of cycle begins here. New income streams can happen. You can set yourself up to have better ideas when it comes to, your self-worth, or anything that has to do with like your personal growth. This is the time to really set intentions for the long-term and financial personal growth theme. You can set seeds. You can plant seeds in the second house. Of course, you can plant seeds because, as I said, this is now like the second house is about stability. So now it's the time to establish new stability, and you need to define what truly matters to you. You are both strengthening your emotional security and your materialistic security with the new moon in the second house. And so Lilith, after all this time, is going to enter into Sagittarius for the next few months in your second house. And Lilith here presents like a more deepened presence around your finances, this awareness around your possessions, like your self-worth. You have deep self-value, or you will gain deep self-value over the next couple of months, because you're going to confront these outdated, financial patterns, these outdated ways that you claim your body to be, like your, autonomy, and like how you earn and what can be earned, and how you see yourself and in your self-worth. Like, you are trying to manage those things, manage resources. Like, true empowerment is going to come from claiming your worth. And, Monies is coming into the second house, but there is a deep reflection of your personal power and your self-respect. And you're going to do these things without apologizing to anyone, because Lilith was just in your sign. We know you're not apologizing to anyone, but allowing yourself to feel and allowing yourself to explore life through your senses as well. That's what the second house is going to bring to you. So the sun, this is the day of the winter solstice, but the sun is going to enter into Capricorn on December 21st. This is your third house. So there's a lot of communication that's going to happen, in the month of December for you, Scorpio. There's learning, there's local connections. You are taking your leadership role to another level because your immediate environment requires your focus, and you're building on like clarity, even there, clarity around like daily interaction that you may have with people. Like the sun is gonna light up this practical thinking, or maybe like this honest dialogue, or how you convey your ideas can now really shape your influence and your immediate surroundings. Venus is going to enter into Capricorn, and I think this is pretty good, right? It's entering into the third house, so she is making things sound more, she's softening things a little bit, making things sound more charming and like enhancing this, let's say, like enhancing any type of negotiations and learning. There's harmony through communication when Venus is in the third house. And even when it comes to local connection, relationships with your siblings and neighbors, like these are things that's going to improve because she's trying to have your words, be spoken with grace. And these are the things that are actually going to carry lasting value for you, Scorpio. So, any way that you communicate during this time is going to strengthen your material and your like emotional stability, as well as the stability that is like found around you. You want this, December 2025 is going to focus on, really emphasize on your power starting off the month, your communication and your self-worth. You're going to navigate, intimacy, shared resources, and then you're going to move into this personal value that has to do with like finances or clear self-expression. You are more confident in exerting your truth, especially with Lilith leaving your sign. She's in the first house, but now she's going into the house of the voice. This is you speaking here. And even though the third house is a house of the voice as well, but it's like the second house is a house of your throat chakra, right? And the third house is like your mental, stimulation, but you are aligning with things with better intention. Like your words, your values, and your ideas now work together, and they create both opportunity and security. And like this is the month where you're really highlighting your mindset, or your mindset is being highlighted for you, and how it's influencing your interactions and your immediate environment. Like December is about understanding the value of both what you own and what you express, and even how words can carry a lot of power for you. I feel like December is going to encourage you to master all of these things, like to master what you express, what you own, what you believe, your influence, like all of those things is going to be centered around trying to help you master those things for the next, because this is gonna, December is like the winter solstice, so it's setting the tone for the next couple of months. So yes, Scorpio, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, Scorpio. Hey there, Sagittarius. So, Sagittarius, this is your month, right? I mean, if you are November Sagittarius, happy solar return, happy birthday, happy days and happy ways, happy directions. This is your solar return. And if your birthday is in December, wow, this is like this is most Sagittarius are born in December, right? But most are not, right? But whatever the case is, this is your season, whatever month you were born in. If it's your birthday, this is your season. So happy solar return. I'm wishing you nothing but the best these days. And we're going to talk about what December horoscopes are going to mean for you. And so we're starting off with a full moon in your seventh house. I know, right? Like, let's start on relationships with people and your romantic, entanglements, or even this is the house of other people. So when there's a full moon in Gemini, and this is happening on December 4th, you're going to see who truly supports you and who doesn't. And if there's like lingering tensions around like resolutions or anything that's possible or impossible, I think that it's going to be either closure, but it's going to free you from like, it's going to be, you're going to be presented with a possibility or having to close something. And it's going to free you from these misaligned, connections that you may have with people. This is a time where you really reach a point of clarity when this full moon is happening. And it kind of feels like an emotional tensity, maybe even one-on-one communication dialogue, right? Because Mercury is playing its role in here. And there's a truth that can surface now, during this time, whether it's pleasant, whether it's uncomfortable, but partnerships act as mirrors, Sagittarius, and this lunation is revealing not just what you want from others, but what others need from you as well. So awareness here, strengthens your collaborations with the next person and also strengthens your autonomy. So December 10th, Neptune is actually going to go direct for the last time in Pisces. And this is your natal fourth house of home and family and emotional foundation. So anything that has been confusing for you, Sagittarius, around those times, I feel like misunderstandings could have happened in your house, and had no reason. You didn't know why, or maybe secrets came to life where you didn't understand why. But now things are starting to become clear. You're seeing that everything happens for a reason. Even your dreams and intuition can be found in the fourth house. This is the house of the past as well. But even understanding past dynamics or family matters or your living situation, these are more vivid and easier to trust and easier to understand. You can feel a sense of relief, or like relief from the past because of your, I don't know if you can hear me breathing. I'm breathing pretty deep, but it's like these past emotional fogs, they definitely lift for you, Sagittarius, because you are intuitively understanding what it truly means to like live a life, and not just like a private life where we have to hide who we are because others may not accept it, or if we're in relationships, because fourth house can have to do with it's your home, who's inside of your home. It's like you're starting to understand what truly matters in the private life, and you don't have to hide yourself from the home. There's like, even when it comes to emotional support, if you need that, you need to ask for it. You are allowed to restructure your home, to restructure your inner life in a way that feels more spiritually aligned, in a way that feels like you're going to have practical support. And so Mercury is going to conjunct Scorpio, and that's your natal 12th house. So this is the last conjunction for Lilith. Well, Mercury, all right, let's just say Mercury and Lilith. This is the last conjunction, because Lilith is going to enter into your sign. I mean, no one's going to be able to tell you what to do, Sagittarius, especially during your season. But this conjunction in the 12th house, of course, this is the house of like patterns, hidden thoughts, and subconscious thoughts, and private plans, that come to the surface. You're going to discover these insights about yourself and about situations that were previously like you couldn't see before, because this is the house of the unseen. There's a lot of introspection that's going to happen and intensify, and you can feel compelled to address certain internal matters with yourself. Some revelations are going to come to you because you're going to feel like it can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's going to feel like it's liberating you from something, right? Because the deeper insight here is to integrate like your shadow mind and trying to strengthen up your personal power and strengthen up your emotional body, or the body. This is a self that normally people don't see. This is their internal self. And because Lilith is moving into your sign later on in the month, there is like this acknowledging now what can no longer unconsciously sabotage you or your progress anymore. It's like, but that's something that definitely happens within us. Other people don't see that right away. But as I said, they're going to start seeing something, someone or something is going to start being seen for you, because Mercury is actually going to enter into your sign on December 11th as well. And that's your natal first house. So planets in the first house are very, very engaged in our life. This is where your mental clarity, you're outspoken, you're confident, you're expensive, like your thoughts, your ideas are words that are shaping your how people see you. Like, it's shaping your evolution, it's shaping your identity, it's shaping your image. And this is the time where you're gonna communicate your ideas more boldly and clearly, and you feel like mentally energized, you feel assertive, like you're gonna share your truth. These are conversations that can really draw attention to your intelligence, your wisdom, like this is leadership potential. Mercury in your first house, because your self-concept is directly influenced by your ideas, your communication style, and you're speaking authentically when Mercury is in your first house. And it's now gonna help you like exhilarate these or what is it, like the word where you can accumulate, or like you can make things happen a lot faster. What is that word? I don't remember that word, but like opportunities come to you a little bit more faster through like your personal growth, so you're making way for that. And so Capricorn, right? Mars is going to enter into Capricorn in your natal second house. Mars is motivated in Capricorn because it's exalted. And to have Mars in the second house, you're worried about your monies, right? This is December 15th, and you're more energized to think about your finances, your possession, your resources, your self-worth. You are driven to secure resources. You're driven to assert your value, to claim what you deserve. These are financial opportunities that are going to arise for you. And especially if you start taking the initiative to negotiate strategically, if you're motivated to act in you acting on personal matters at an all-time high. So, if you're willing to put in the effort, you're going to see tangible results, Sagittarius. And I would definitely suggest, you're going to do this anyway. It's naturally in our bodies, right? But also it kind of takes us in our will, because we're talking about Mars, our will to put forward towards something. And so I would put forward towards like a financial action, because that's going to strengthen your like independence. Money it becomes a tool for empowerment, and it's not just about survival. It's about reflecting on your personal values and abilities and what you can do with them and how you can use them. Sagittarius in the second house, so definitely use that that definitely use that transit to assert some type of bold action towards a financial matter, or even a personal matter or personal growth. So there's going to be a new moon in your sign in the first house of self. So okay, new you, there's a solar return, and now there's a new personal cycle that is going to begin for you. And this is going to happen over the next 6 months, but the 6 months to a year, right? Because your solar return as well. But because the sun is still going to be in Sagittarius, but maybe, it's definitely going to be at a later degree. So I guess it all depends on what degree you're at, but the sun is definitely going to return to the exact, degree of, your natal sun. So you feel like you're reborn with confidence. You feel like your goals are reachable. You feel like your appearance is, you're feeling really good about yourself, because this is a powerful time to reinvent yourself. You are initiating these bold acts and these authentic steps forward, so you're excited. You are making room for courage. These are the type of things that really surge during this time, because you feel capable of pursuing new directions with optimism, with clarity. Your identity, your action are intertwined with each other. You're setting intentions for personal growth, and these are the type of things that are going to shape your path over the next couple of months. And so on December 20th as well, Lilith is going to enter into your first house. And so Lilith is emphasizing and energizing your sense of self and your body, your brain, your autonomy, your body. You are compelled to assert your independence and break free from any type of external expectations or restrictive patterns. You really do feel compelled with Lilith in the first house. You know, it feels like there is this fierce need for authenticity, or you're more willing to challenge and defy judgment, you know, or any type of conventions that have chains wrapped around them. You know what I'm saying? The true empowerment is going to come from self-assertion and embracing your authentic path. Personal magnetism, of course, is happening, you know, during this time, and it's going to increase your actions and help you align more to, you know, like your inner truth or your inner value. So the sun is going to enter into Capricorn in your natal second house. And remember, this is the time of the winter solstice. And so this is cold. It's dark on the inside. And your soul is extremely reflective. And so the sun is trying to illuminate your self-worth and your values and your finances. So it's really wanting you to turn your attention towards managing your resources and, you know, thinking about things more wisely and trying to create stability in, like, you know, your personal achievements can manifest as income or become things of tangible rewards. If you've been working on something, you feel very motivated to secure what's yours and to really optimize these resources that are heading your way. And I feel like satisfaction is going to come from tangible achievements, in that your materialistic, like, security or materialistic goals, they become inner strength, and they start aligning you with these personal values that you may hold, or anything that's going to help you create stability or self-respect, you know. And the sun, excuse me, not the sun, Venus is going to enter into Capricorn as well, you know, with the sun and in your second house. So Venus is going to enhance, you know, these financial opportunities or these resource engagements, or helping you research your manage, or helping you manage, like, your resources. You can attract support. You can attract, you know, favorable conditions for wealth building with Venus in the second house. And, like, financial matters are going to flow with greater ease, and confidence is definitely, you know, one of your abilities during this time. The second house has to do with our natural abilities. So those things are heightened because abundance is, like, strengthened when you are combining discipline with integrity. And, you know, what you are now is going to mirror the value that you're putting on yourself, or what you can. And you just want to make sure that you are starting with subconscious clarity and moving through this assertive self-expression. And I feel like you can be empowered by your personal decisions, you know. You're more confident during this time, as I said, with the sun going in. You know, as a Sagittarius rising, the sun is returning back to your degree, and your identity, you know, your values, they're firmly aligned with each other. Your personal power feels both like an opportunity, you know, it feels like it can bring you stability. This is the month where you are connecting with tangible resources, and what you claim in this world is going to align with your sense of worth. So, excuse me, yes, Capricorn, yes, not Capricorn, Sagittarius. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I will see you guys in the next video. Happy December. Bye, Sagittarius. What's up, Capricorn? Welcome to your December 2025 horoscopes. If this is your birthday month, happy solar return, happy days, happy ways, happy everything to you, Capricorn. I'm so excited. This is your solar return. And if you were born on December 21st, you were born on the winter solstice. So this is the time of the winter solstice. So if you haven't gone and watched the beginning of the video, definitely go ahead and watch that. But your sign can expect many things, especially the darkest night of the soul. And this is not a bad thing. This is the most reflective time where you can plant so many seeds, Capricorn, and things can grow for you over the next 6 months. This is truly a time where you are reborn, as a Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun, and Capricorn moon. So yeah, let's get started, Capricorn. So starting off on the December 4th. There's going to be a full moon in your sixth house. This is what you do on a day-to-day basis. This is your health. This is your routines, and these are your responsibilities. So anything that has to do with, wellness goals, these are going to finally reach a peak for you, and you're going to gain some insight into which systems and schedules and habits are truly going to support you and which need to be adjusted for you. There's a lot of pressure to perform, that can be at an all-time high, but this moon is going to bring clarity, like under relief. You are going to sense what action is necessary to optimize better outcomes for you. Mastery is, your last name, Capricorn, right? You're building a life of self-mastery, self-respect, self-empowerment, and enlightenment, but you have to master your daily activities, and these are things that are foundational for you, Capricorn. And so as productive as you can be, tying your health into it as well, intertwining those things, paying attention to detail, this is what's going to ensure that long-term efficiency. Neptune is going direct for the last time in Pisces in your natal third house on December 10th, and this is in your third house. So this is the time where Neptune is really clarifying your communication. And there could have been misunderstandings with siblings, with neighbors, with colleagues, and people that are around you in your community. But ultimately, these are inspirations and insights to something else, to greater things evolve from this, or they arrive from this, Capricorn. You now know what those things were about. Your intuition feels very stronger, so you're able to interact smoothly. You're able to understand situations and understand certain situations that have previously felt confusing for you. Mental clarity is definitely going to come back, but it has to be supported by this grounded action. You can navigate complex dynamics with discretion, with better insight, with your intuition. Your mind is very vast, Capricorn, and it can really explore a lot of different things, but it can also keep us stuck in cycles of saying the same thing, doing the same thing, speaking the same thing. But having Neptune in your third house, I think that your mind has wandered into places that other people will never even go, right? And this is the last time it's going into Pisces. Even having Pisces as a third house, your mind is was so much in the ethers that you couldn't even fathom what was going on around you as well. You could have explored different things. You could have done so many different things with Neptune in third house. People will not really get that, having Neptune in the mental space, your mind, your dreams, everything, and even your dialogue. People would not have understood you for a long time. There could have been misunderstandings, though you have this compassionate mind, but can you convey it well? Now is a time where it's you have to say what's on your mind. There's so much clarity with Saturn in the last, couple of years as well. When it came here, it made it a little bit more serious. Your tone was able to have structure behind it so that you can communicate efficiently. But yes, that's just a story that is closing and ending. And, Neptune is now going into your natal fourth house. And so it's going to teach you a lot about that. But anyways, right? So Mercury is going to conjunct, Lilith in Scorpio, and so this is your natal 11th house. And so Lilith in Scorpio being conjunct this hidden truths around friendships, around your long-term goals. These are going to surface, and you can discover motives or influences or allies that were previously not working for you, or they're trying to lead you into a different direction, or they're saying things that's not going to lead you to where you need to go. You have a deeper social awareness that's going to sharpen interactions with groups and people that you collaborate with, these become very transformative, and sometimes they can become confrontational just because you're not allowing people to just say anything and do anything, or being involved in things of that nature. And people want to pull you in and say, believe this, but no, you have this strategic discernment now. It's going to enhance and it's going to influence your choices, or even the direction that you want to go in life. Your goals is going to influence. So definitely shadow recognition can come with these like networkings, because your shadows, your shadows, the things that I won't say that yes, we can align with our shadows more than, the other parts of our bodies, but this is nothing to be ashamed of. And so I feel like this is actually going to empower more alignment with authentic collaborators, because you know what you've been through, you know what needs to be worked on, and so you know it needs to be worked on in another person, and you cannot hide and whine and complain or be a victim to those things. And Mercury conjunct Lilith is not going to let you be a victim to those things. Also, Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius on the same day in your natal 12th house, where the focus turns inwards. You start reflecting on your spiritual inquiry. You start thinking about private planning. You're prioritizing your inner world, and so solitude is definitely needed for you, so you can mentally organize your intentions, your long-term intentions. What do you want? It kind of feels very quiet, but very productive, even, during, the middle of the month, because there's insight trying to emerge for you, and introspection trying to really, like, introspection happening for you. And so you're trying to observe these things about yourself, and the mind is trying to integrate all of these hidden lessons and all of these, the internal work that you have been doing or that you need to do. It's going to strengthen your personal power and prepare you for like visible success. Mars is exalted in your first house, and Mars is going to be entering into your sign Capricorn in December 15th. And this is I think that this is bringing you into such a energizing self-concept, physical, presence, and your goals. Like when Mars is in your first house, Capricorn, I really would suggest that you're getting up and you're doing physical things with confidence and initiative and any type of ambition. Whatever you're trying to work towards, whether it's a health goal, whether you're ready to assert yourself, you're ready to lead, you're ready to take concrete steps towards something, do it. You have high energy. You have courage, because Mars is exalted in your sign, and you can feel impatient when it comes to acting, but your drive is so focused on being strategic that the best way to use this is to stay deeply rooted, like to take action that's deeply rooted in clarity, in preparing to enhance, like in preparation and enhancing like your long-term achievements, your authority in this world, your authority to the self. These are things that are naturally going to align for you with attention and with effort. So use that, please use that, use that transit to really empower yourself. Get up and do something, even though your body is going to be like, you're going to have extra energy with Mars in your sign. Mars loves Capricorn. And so the new moon is going to happen in your natal 12th house in Sagittarius. And so this is starting a fresh new cycle within your private matters, your spiritual life, plans, intentions, and the healing process that are going to happen now are going to sow the seeds to manifest later in your life, right? About six months to a year, 3 months to a year, you're going to start to see how the reflection that you have taken it starts to bring this quiet excitement, or you feel like these hidden opportunities, they're going to bring you clarity, someday. Not someday, but through the experiences that you have, because Sagittarius is, the higher thinker, the higher seeker through freedom. And so you have to really ground yourself in clarity regarding these like internal goals that you have or that may arise. So this is the house of the unseen, and the unseen guides are being sought. Like you can see them now, if that makes sense, Capricorn, right? It's like your inner alignment now is going to ensure these outer effective, like the effectiveness of your, how do I put this? Your inner alignment now is going to ensure how your outer, how you're outwardly expressing effectiveness, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It's like what you do internally, it's going to show on the outside. It's really going to be made clearer to you. It's going to feel deeper to you in some type of way. Like the unseen becomes the seen, and this can have to do with your patterns, your regulation, what you believe about yourself, where your goals arrive from, your plans, your intentions. It's like what you actually are doing, behind the scenes is good. I'm such an over explainer, damn, but what you're doing behind the scenes, you're going to see on the outer scenes. So Lilith is actually going to enter into Sagittarius on December 20th in your 12th house. And so that's definitely shadow integration. And these are things that are now strengthening your identity and strengthening your empowered visibility. Lilith is energizing these hidden dynamics, these subconscious patterns, the realms of the unseen. And so you're going to feel more confident when it comes to confronting fears, when it comes to releasing limitations or reclaiming your power that has previously kept you stuck, kept you hidden behind closed doors. Capricorn, you're going to feel this inner intensity of assertiveness, and these things are going to combine for you and intertwine. So you're going to feel very compelled to integrate shadow aspects of yourself and make them meaningful. Like they are meaningful for a reason and used for a reason, whether it has to come through alchemizing your own pain, your own experiences. Like these are things that will and can be done by you, through you, and for you. And so the sun is entering into Capricorn on December 21st. And this is your natal first house, right? This is the time where the solar return actually starts for those who have a birthday, those who are a Capricorn, right? Going back to your same degree. So the sun in Capricorn, in your natal first house, this is the house of your presence, your leadership, your visibility, and your personal authority. And these are the things that come into focus because you're confident, it's heightened. You're motivated to act and start to assert your influence or your individuality. And so you could be more visible during this time. The things that you want to be effective behind become more amplified, and you have inner courage, you have inner clarity, you have things that feel like they're aligned for you, and like they're aligned for you in order to achieve something. Venus is going to enter into your first house. Venus in Capricorn is more serious. She's enhancing your charisma, your magnesium. I like using that word in substitution for being a magnet. But being a magnet for opportunities, being a magnet for better self-expression or better self-impressions on the next person, you feel more like you can benefit from grace, like your personal style is really energy that is attracting support and attracting, admiration. So any type of social interactions you are in with other people, they feel harmonious when Venus is in your first house, Capricorn, because your personal magnet is naturally attracting or opening doors, right? And there's beauty when Venus is in the first house because she's enhancing your charm. She's enhancing your authority. She is aligning you. She's aligning your self-expression. Your values is going to amplify because we're talking about you, Capricorn, right? So your influence, your respect, your credibility, these are things that are going to be amplified for you. And of course you're moving into introspection, but finally you're ready and you're capable of asserting your self-expression. You're really confident, you're really visible during this time, and any inner alignment is now going to fuel your influence and practical achievement. In the month of December, Capricorn, please, there can be endings to certain things as far as your personal goals. Maybe you need to have more introspection, or in order to step into something more powerful or a visible role, you need to let some things go. So turning your inner clarity to like outer authority is the mission for the month of December. So yes, Capricorn, that is all I have. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Capricorn. Happy December. Hey Aquarius, welcome to your December 2025 horoscopes. And so December is starting off with a full moon in your 5th house of Gemini, December 4th. And full moon in the 5th house brings clarity around, or I would say clarity, closure, fulfillment, any type of adjustment, but it's revealing whether you are fulfilled, whether you need adjustments, even when it comes to like your personal passions, or your relational or romantic development, your creative expression, your self-expression, what makes you happy. These are the things that are at an emotional all-time high, and they could be linked to certain connections. They could be linked to things that you're doing that you believe is making you happy, but it isn't. This is like a final push, or feels like a push. Not a final push, but it definitely feels like a push to express yourself more authentically, to have conversations that actually bring you joy, to have more mental spaces that actually bring you joy, and you are reflecting from an inner state. And this lunation really asks you to honor your personal passions while balancing the attention, that others need from you as well. Like your attention to yourself kind of comes first when it comes to your joy. Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces in your natal 2nd house. This is the last time that Neptune is going to be in your 2nd house, and it's really a time for clarity, right? It's clarifying your finances, your value systems, your resources, your sense of, like, I would say assets, or what do you truly value here? Like, there's this subtle relief that Neptune is trying to bring for the last time, where there's a sense of direction or personal worth regarding your resources. Materialistic and spiritual alignments are possible when you are making intuitive decisions, letting that guide you. You have to recognize what type of subtle patterns in your value systems, does it bring security or does it not? Are there patterns that don't work? Like, there are some that strengthen you and some that do not. I think that since 2011, you've learned what works and what doesn't. Having Pisces as a 2nd house can be so ethereal, right? You can explore different ways to make money, different ways to feel about yourself. But there is this certain worth in Pisces that must be had in order to actually make things tangible and possible. You have to truly know you deserve what you know you deserve. Aquarius, Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith and Scorpio in your natal 10th house. Lilith is bringing these revelations and these hidden truths to your life directions. You can gain insight from a societal influence, or even things that you pursue. Like, there's some type of power dynamic that needs mental clarity, and these things come very intensely in the natal 10th house, especially with this conjunction, because you become aware of these unseen dynamics, things that empower you to navigate authority, things where you need to take things more strategically. Maybe, you're really integrating shadow elements of like ambition and like influence, things that are allowing authentic leadership. So you have to understand power dynamics. You have to understand what it does to strengthen you, or what it does to help you reach your long-term goals. Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius in your natal 11th house, and so you're really focused on your collaborations. Mercury is bringing up these new ideas now, these new conversations, these new people, and things can start to gain momentum during this time. There's a lot of mental energy that is expressed outwardly, that's expressed through vision, that's expressed through goals, and even cooperating with others. You can connect with like-minded people who actually support your aspirations. There's a lot of engagement that has to do with community, and now is a time to shape where your future is actually headed, Aquarius. And so networking with people with a purpose and alignment can really enhance your personal activity, even your personal vision. So Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and Mars is entering into Capricorn in your natal 12th house. And Mars is really getting to the bottom of these subconscious ideas and works and patterns, and preparing you for something better. Because behind the scenes, action is favored because you are initiating the resolve of old patterns, the resolve of private things that you have kept quietly for maybe you're planning something strategically for like future success. But the motivation here and with Mars in Capricorn is to focus inward. You can feel restless, but you can feel also driven to these like strategic I would say plans in private. In solitude is where you really find discipline. You really find that your hidden effort is now gonna can amplify, your future results. Like discipline in private spaces can ensure visibility later and achievement later. That's the best way to say that, Aquarius. I'm gonna over explain her, my goodness. So the new moon is gonna happen in Sagittarius, which is your natal 12th house, until you can meet someone on December 20th, and you can meet someone who actually introduces you to new experiences, allies that can emerge, and they really help you advance towards your vision. There's a sense of hope and enthusiasm for your future now. You are supported by like-minded people, and they really feel like they're aligned for you, collaborators and anything that is social. These intentions now are planting the seeds for collective success. So choosing associates, friends, people that are in your community, or people that you head towards your goals with wisely is the best bet, because you're now you choosing wiser folks to have around you. You're now strengthening like your personal and your community outcomes. Even the outcomes of your goals are favored. So Lilith is going to enter into Sagittarius in your natal 11th house, and so Lilith here is going to bring this compelled sense to really change and challenge the norms, what people think are normal, but it's actually not. Like she's helping you embrace these unique collaborations or insert your independence within groups. There's a boldness that comes in your social interactions, and you are drawing more attention for the way that you're speaking, whether it's unconventional, or whether it's like bringing these futuristic ideas or these pioneering ideas. Any type of social involvement in or engagement is gonna expand your influence. You're really breaking away from any type of conformity, anything that keeps you stuck and chained up to something. This is bringing you empowerment, both in like personal and group objectives. So it doesn't matter what other people think. It's gonna matter what you think, and you want to align yourself to the people like that. The sun is going to enter into Capricorn on December 21st in your natal 12th house. And so this, especially for you, Aquarius, is most time for introspection, hidden work, and preparation. You really have to focus on your internal planning because this is the winter solstice, right? And the start of the winter solstice. And so your spiritual growth and, anything that has to do with past patterns. These are things that want to be resolved behind closed doors in a quiet space. There's purposeful energy that is guiding you to reflect and really to prepare you for any type of future action that you may want to take. And so the unseen foundations of your life, they become more visible. They, like your inner work is now directed towards the future achievements and towards self-mastery. Venus is going to enter into your 12th house as well on December 21st. And so Venus here is strengthening, your hidden efforts, your spiritual practices, anything that is private within the 12th house. It's supporting you. Venus is definitely supporting you, whether it has to do with resources that can flow better, but this is definitely behind the scenes, harmonious inner energy where you can find peace and alignment and solitude, by yourself. There's like private efforts that can now enhance through like personal, being personally like a personal magnet, and attracting future success. I think that you feel more graceful of the unseen matters that is going to strengthen these long-term outcomes for you. There's a lot of strategic alignment happening for you, Aquarius, as well. And you feel more grounded, more aware, more prepared when you take time to really reflect in private. Outer connections and like inner clarity are now going to work hand in hand with each other. But I think that in the future, it's going to enhance your visibility and enhance your influence and enhance your personal fulfillment. But you definitely have to take time for introspection and preparation. Work on your subconscious mind. This month is really about aligning you to these outer interactions with inner purpose. Like, what do you, if yeah, so like that's actually, I can't even over explain that, Aquarius, because it's like what you engage in socially is now going to affect your long-term personal and spiritual evolution. Even the hidden work that you do is now trying to influence your inner clarity and your outer clarity as well. So definitely take this time to, you know, um, think about what your inner purpose is, okay? And so, yes, Aquarius, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Aquarius. Hey there, Pisces. What's up? Welcome to your December 2025 horoscopes. So December starts off with a full moon in your natal 4th house, and this is happening on December 4th, and the full moon is in Gemini. So this brings a highlight around your home, your family, your mother, your parents, your emotional roots, your domestic matters, and these are family dynamics that you start to that reach a climax. Whether your living situation as well reaches a climax, and you can gain clarity about your foundation and make decisions that are going to redefine your home environment. It can feel like this emotional intensity is present in your home, or in your private life. This is where conversations can feel like they're bringing closure or insights or practical adjustments. Security really begins at the root. I think that you're going to understand that very deeply. And so anything that has to do with strengthening your emotional and domestic foundation are really going to enhance your stability in all areas of your life if you're willing to work on them, right? And that's what this full moon is trying to get you to understand. And so December 10th, Neptune. Neptune is finally going direct in your sign again for the last time. This is it, Pisces. And Neptune is your traditional ruler. Jupiter traditional ruler, and Neptune is your new ruler. But Neptune has been in your sign since 2011. And this is something, this was a transit that you're never going to see again in your life, Pisces. So with it moving direct for the last time, there is clarity in self-perception. You know who you are. And, Neptune causes confusion and around your personal identity, around your personal direction. But I think ultimately intuition was trying to be enhanced or it's heightened. It's helping you, what Neptune was trying to get you to like to ascend or to transcend your sense of identity. There is ultimately no identity, like we are existing here through consciousness. We are not the physical body. This is an experience. And so becoming more authentic and aligning with your true self, this is what, Neptune was helping you, like was dissolving for you. That state of mind, that state of consciousness, it doesn't work for you, right? You are more inclined to feel spiritually attuned with creative inspiration, right? And so this inner vision is merging with your outer presence. As Neptune is going direct. And so your personal clarity is now returning to you now. And it's really setting the tone for December and even the months to come. Neptune is gonna Neptune, Neptune is like, Neptune, it's moving into your second house, but there's an amplified of influence in magnesium. I don't even know why I keep saying magnesium, but the magnitude of your aura is ethereal, as Neptune is leaving your sign. But yes, Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio, and this is happening in your natal 9th house, and this is on December 11th, right? And so truths are definitely being emerging around belief system, around your higher education, even legal matters, travel. You're going to start questioning the philosophies that you have believed in and start uncovering, insights that really challenge old assumptions. Mental intensity can come under this conjunction as well as curiosity. These things are combined for you because you feel more compelled to investigate, to rethink. You're like, what have you been holding on long term? What have you been believing in long term? And the deeper insight here is starting to integrate shadow knowledge that's ultimately going to strengthen both your intellectual growth, your spiritual growth. Like shadow knowledge is very important. And, guilt, shame, and all of those extra emotions and sorrow, even though they're uncomfortable, truths that you have to confront, it's really going to expand your perspective. So you should just get it done, right? You should just laugh it off, or not even laugh it off, but we're talking about the 9th house, and this is the house of exploration, and life is teaching you something, and whether it has to teach you through an experience that is uncomfortable, things that you don't see coming, Scorpio, or whether it's through trauma, whether it's through emotional intensity, manipulation from people, all types of stuff, right? Pisces, you have to understand that this is all for a reason. I think Neptune is teaching you that in the first house because it's trining your first house. But Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius on December 11th, and this is happening in your natal 10th house. And so the focus turns to your public life, your image, how people see you, your ambitions, your ideas, and communications are going towards personal achievement, professional achievement, visibility. Even when it comes to like leadership opportunities, these things are heightened because your mental energy is now becoming more strategic, more ambitious, more outward facing. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a time where conversations and negotiations can influence your public perception or your long-term goals. These are words and decisions that now shape your reputation. Clarity is in communication. Well, clarity comes from communication when you when you are because Mercury is strengthening your influence and your authority, and so this is where clarity is coming from, because you're now believing what you're saying to people. You're now using this, you know, newfound intelligence as something to inspire, to empower you to move forward, for you to help you move forward. Mars is in your natal 11th house in Capricorn, right? And this is happening on December 15th, but Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so it's going to energize your social connections, society, and any type of aspirations that you have and goals, and whether it's collectively, but you feel like you can assert your influence in groups and actively pursue long-term goals, even if you have to work with other people. I think there's a motivation and drive behind, and increasing your social and increasing these type of like when you have to work with other people. But it's like you are taking the lead, whether it's in collaborations, whether because this is a house of community, and it's like working towards a common goal. So any type of efforts that you may take, this is a house of the older sibling, is this a house of like your long-term goals, or things that may take a while. But with strategic planning with Mars during this time, I feel like there's opportunities that really create achievement, or like future recognition. Even if you start right now and work towards something, this assertive participation is going to align you with personal ambition, with any type of impact that you're trying to make, whether it's social, whether it's mental, anything. Well, I wouldn't say anything, but anything that you're working towards, Pisces. So Neptune, why do I keep saying Neptune? But the new moon is going to be in Sagittarius, and this is happening in your natal 10th house on December 20th. So this is a new cycle that's going to begin in your visible space, your space of authority in this world, your space of respect and self-respect. There's fresh initiatives that will be taken. There's opportunities for leadership that can be taken, and these are things that can start, right? You can feel ambitious, you can feel like you have this new focus on long-term goals, and this can intensify, and you can feel ready to really make your mark publicly. And even when it comes to being intentional to the actions that you're taking, you're now planting seeds for lasting success, lasting visibility, lasting achievements, and anything anywhere that your life is headed, it is intertwined in achievement and visibility. So you will be seen if you're trying to achieve something. Lilith is going to enter into Sagittarius in the 10th house. Okay, wow. And so Lilith is going to be in the 10th house for you, Pisces, for the next couple of months. And she is energizing your sector that has to do with publicity. And it has to do with like encouraging your independence. So you are speaking to encourage other people's independence. Anything that's unconventional, you're taking those type of approaches to assert authority in ways that are going to defy certain people around you, or even traditional expectations. There's a boldness and there's an assertiveness in your professional life. In any way that your life is heading, you are now gaining attention for these pioneering or these unconventional methods. Your self-expression is in public roles, you're strengthening your influence and you're embracing your individuality, and now it's setting the stage for long-term recognition. Lilith in the 10th house is not going to just be quiet. It's going to really tell you what it's experiencing and how it can help you and change your life. And it's really gonna preach to you, Lilith, here. And the sun is going to enter into your natal 12th house in Capricorn on December 21st. And so this is the time of the winter solstice, and this brings focus to like your presence in groups, and organizations that well, if you are involved in organizations that become more visible. But this is a house of leadership. This is a house of influencing, this is going to be the house of media as well, but any type of collective ambition, things you're doing with another person, your friend group, this is the house of that. And so any type of role that you play with others, these are the things that are going to emerge with the sun entering into your 11th house. You feel responsible, and you feel, well, you feel the responsibility to like inspire in some type of way. And you can be creating new support networks that help you in the long term. There's this collective engagement. This is a house of collective like consciousness as well. And so those are the things that are really enhanced in order for you to get to some type of personal growth. You have to align your social action with like this visible strength, right? And this influence and this sense of achievement. And you're just ready to, because Mars is in Capricorn, so you're just ready to move forward, right? And you're willing, because Mars is exalted in Capricorn as well. So you're more motivated to increase this drive to head towards achievements that are right for you and aligned for you. Venus is going to enter into Capricorn as well. So there's a lot of focus in your 11th house on alliances and support. And Venus is bringing harmony and opportunity. And, you can really benefit under this transit because resources and support, these are new things that are going to come to you. And so friendships are going to feel more rewarding, and teamwork is going to feel more, like it's coming naturally to you. These are the things that are enhanced or that amplify your networks, connecting with other people, your personal outcomes. There can be, investing into these authentic alliances that are going to ultimately produce, lasting benefits or lasting results. I think that when you are strategically planning within these networks, you have a more empowered outlook or make more meaningful connections, Pisces. You can feel confident, aligned during this time. You can feel like your presence and your actions are now setting the term for long-term recognition. December is a month where you're combining self-awareness with strategic public action. Your presence and your decisions are now shaping your personal or social impact, if that's something that you're involved in, or even the impact that you have on other people. It's now feeding into your social growth, your collective growth, your aspirations, your presence, your personal development, Pisces. So yes, Pisces, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I will see you guys on the next video. Happy December, Pisces. Bye.